Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Welcome back, everybody. It hasn't been that long, actually, since I've seen you. Golden Gad's got a full week of rest, but I surely don't here. It's the quarterfinals of Vanquisher here. I'm Halfling, joined by Golden Gad. We've got a great series here tonight that, I've been promised, should go the full length.
Yeah, we'll see if it actually ends up doing so. I will say, I'm sorry for missing Saturday. Just a little bit busy.
It
Didn't really
happens.
want to, it is what it is. But either way, glad to see it went well. We are now sitting in the quarterfinals here for Strawberries How Evil versus Iceborn 4-1. So the cool thing about what happened in the round of 8 or round of 12, excuse me,
Mhm.
is every single one of the higher seeded teams actually ended up winning out on their series in that round of 12. So that means that Strawberries How Evil, who ended up at the bottom of the seeding stage, ended up against the 5th place team of Iceborn 4-1, at least as far as seeding is concerned. So for them, they have the hardest matchup on paper, seeding wise, that they could have possibly gotten, since they didn't do so hot in the seeding stage. Unfortunately, they lost the head-to-head to the other 1 and 2 team in there. So they are now going to be up against Iceborn 4-1, who honestly looked pretty good throughout the season so far. So I think this will be a good match between two different teams that, I mean, don't have much of a history, at least playing against each other too much.
Yeah, and technically, if you look at the groups and whatnot, I personally would consider Group C to be one of the easier looking groups. Now, not to say that how Evil didn't earn their way up here. Of course, they earned their way here into the C. But I do agree this is definitely the hardest and the closest matchup that we could possibly have here for quarterfinals. So it's going to be exciting to see how these teams really match up. Specifically, I've been noted that the top lane is actually going to be a little bit more of a focus between these two teams. But that's more of a wait and see thing specifically. We've been watching a lot of top laners here kind of, I'll call it unfortunately having to bend to the knee to the almighty tank meta that's kind of going on right now here in Vanquishers. So
Yeah.
maybe we get
We
some fun picks.
we've also had like
Never
very
mind.
one-sided top lane matchups,
Mhm.
where like one top laner just completely dominates the other one in lane, and yeah, they don't really get to play the game until mid game team fight era. So curious to see how that'll actually hold up in this one. We are seeing pretty standard bans. Gnar, instrument well known for the Gnar, so makes a lot of sense to take it off the table. And Varus, who's just a really strong pick here that really only gets answered by Ashe Seraphine as like kind of the most traditional answer for it.
Mhm.
So just immediately banning that away kind of increases the priority on it for that Ashe Seraphine. So I'm curious to see if we'll see any bans towards that in particular. Some other signature picks you can kind of leverage include stuff like the Ziggs that Jacob likes to play. So curious to see whether that will actually end up getting through here and whether that'll actually get locked in. Ziggs is always a kind of tricky champion. There's a reason APA is kind of known as a specialist pick because,
Mhm.
well, he likes to play Ziggs, which no other mid laner in the entire world likes to play as far as the tier 1 scene. So curious to see whether it'll get pulled out here. And instead,
It's taken
Iceborn
away.
4-1, they said, we're going to take it away. You're not going to have access to this pick, and we're going to leverage that flex pick for mid and bot.
Now I wonder if that forces Evil here into picking the J4. It's such a common pairing. It makes it super easy to go. You can go with this Ori J4 here all the way. And I like this Ori pickup from Jacob here. As you're so knowledgeable on the Ziggs, Jacob is that Ziggs player that's it's getting taken away from. They're going to go with the Mbessa here, so that leaves this J4 Ziggs pickup. But Jacob should understand this matchup and should understand the way that the Ori can come out on top is the hope here. So that's going to put a lot of
Yeah.
pressure either on Young Grease and the bot lane to
I was
take that
about to
away.
say Ziggs Flex
Exactly.
seems very probable here with
Mhm.
Orianna now locked in mid, so we're gonna see Ari actually get the lock in here, and I'm curious what the pairing will be. Maybe like a Vi, just something solid you can really abuse the Orianna. But seeing the Mbessa, knowing that that champion loves to just farm and scale up till that level 6 mark, might as well pick one of your own with that Wukong. So we're gonna be seeing a pretty strong mid jungle duo for both of these teams. If the Mbessa ends up for sure going to the jungle, which I suspect will be the case. Ezreal going to be that lock in here. There aren't too many great answers to Ziggs. It's just kind of one of those things you got to
Mhm.
handshake. Hey, you're going to hit my turret. You're going to be clearing these waves. I just got to get through the laning phase in a comfortable manner. And Ezreal's one of those comfortable ADCs you can rely on and kind of fall back to. So
Mhm.
seeing that get banned on the Nami actually makes a lot of sense because that champ was really strong and is going to be getting some nerfs upcoming patch. So definitely a good shout on the ban there.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of some W touch-ups for that Nami. I think it will be enough to kind of tick her down a little bit of a notch. But Ezreal really does just like to have that safe champion here. But I think Evil is gonna probably look to something more akin to a Bard or something that can just get active on the map here. And continue to play that arm's length range that you want to play away. Rakan kind of in that similar boat, still a little more lane focused and a little better pairing with the Ezreal specifically here. Though I do kind of worry about this lack of kind of dedicated front line right now. You've got the Rakan, you've got the best that's going to exist up in that front line here, and you're going to be dealing with that Wukong and now that Orange specifically. You need something that can kind of be up there and eat that poke that's going to come at you, eat those charms intentionally.
Yeah, I think
it's going to suck.
good pick here might be Shen. It's kind of gone up in priority, and it's kind of a good tank versus tank matchup for the most part, so I could see that being a solid one here. It also pairs really well with Rakan and Ambessa, but it's going to be Xin Zhao, so we're going to flex the Ambessa towards the top side. They want to go carry into that tank here, so Instrument wants to really give it to him. So it will be Xin Zhao, though, who is a very powerful pick, and now, you know, you handshook the Wukong and the Ambessa. Hey, we're just going to farm to level 6. That changed my mind. We're actually going to be abusing you in the early game with that Xin Zhao, so that's actually a pretty interesting flex. I'm curious to see if it'll actually work out here, considering Orianna's not the aggressive mid laner you kind of want. You don't expect her to have prio for the Xin Zhao to actually interact with the Wukong early, so we'll have to see how it plays out. They are going to be scrapping up for a 2v2 here.
Yeah, they are going to just scrap out and finding some good damage onto Jacob here. Electric can add up some extra stuff, but it's just onto Poom so far. Kind of even on the trade HP-wise, but Smokey here is not a real big fan of that Instrument showing up at the very end here. Everyone from Evil kind of on the losing end of the trade in the individual lanes, but this mid lane one is going to, I think, be the biggest effect here specifically, as Smokey is like that proper loss here.
Yeah, and also this is Scorch Orianna, so expect a lot more extra damage than you normally would here, so this might be enough prio to just allow Xin Zhao to get on the map, but of course there are deep wards here on the Raptor Pit in particular. Orianna now kind of matching that with that deep ward of her own, so should have good info on where the Wukong is, and that is really solid play, because as I said, Wukong kind of struggles. He has to get off the map in a somewhat safe manner. You don't really want to be engaging, and at least they will have bot priority when the Wukong ends up going towards that side, so they won't have to worry about any tricky support invades or anything like that. Hyrax seeing a lot of poke here. Level 2 ticked over.
Yeah, you spoke about support here, and it's Toomey just absolutely showing up already. They found some great priority here early on the lane, using that kind of just hook threat that Toomey can provide here and be able to get the advantage. And it looks like Hyrax did end up missing a minion anyway. And I was kind of like maybe put a little question on this Nautilus over the Leona specifically. We see Ziggs Leona just a little more often than Nautilus. Specifically as a combo, but Nautilus as a champion seems to be a little more popular, and I think does have a better matchup into the Rakan specifically, so I like the pick. I just kind of question, you know, you're going to get into these like level 4, level 5 fights, or Toomey's going to miss a hook like that, and you're just forced to flash instantly.
Yeah, it doesn't land the hook, and ends up actually triggering with the E as well, so you will be taking turret there, so Toomey has to force the flash there. Kind of unfortunate. I will say one thing to consider is this is a best of 5, so any picks you don't want to deal with later, this is kind of the game to just kind of get them out of the rotation here. So Nautilus being one of those champs a lot of teams like to rely on, so it makes a lot of sense. If you don't need the Leona now, you might as well take away the Nautilus for the future, since Ziggs should be able to handle the lane just fine without the support of a Leona. So we'll see. Double Scuttle probable here for Xin Zhao, so already off to a tough start here for Keyhole.
Yeah, and
they might want to fight, though. They are pinging it.
Yeah, they are pinging. Like, Keel had the HP advantage as well on that like early level 1, but they were just late to the camps. They stayed around so long here, so Poom's going to get a very big advantage of this. This is the little trade-off here. You get the double crab, but your back is kind of stalled for a couple seconds here, so Keel can kind of have this opportunity to start that clear, but they're just pinging for this gank mid lane. Charm, I think, just landed on a Jacob here, so Smokey has some good HP to work with, but Poom just electing. They don't want to take that fight. Smokey could stop this, though.
Yeah, but this is still a lot of time wasted here for the Ahri in particular, so just making sure that she can't get to lane. I mean, you might as well. This is Xin Zhao's PowerPoint. It's pretty hard to actually get through here, and now should be able to help clear out this wave for Jacob to get a nice, clean reset. one thing to note, Poom did not take the blue buff, so not exactly as ahead as he possibly could be. So going to be an interesting second clear here for him.
Yeah, it looked like they just wanted to kind of get things started early. And even then, they tried to, it looked like he all tried to end up going top side as well instead of restarting that clear. I understand the idea, try and bail out your Ornn while we're kind of up on the effective items here, but I think you just start that clear. You want to get to level 6 so fast as Wukong, even if you have like an extra 30 seconds advantage over Poom at level 6, take that, run with that, turn that into a gank. You can easily snowball that into so much more here. And that's going to give kind of Poom this little bit of extra time to catch up on clear. They are down items, so the clear is going to effectively be slower. And ooh, no Bluetooth hook there.
Yeah, I'm surprised the lollipop didn't trigger there. It's unfortunate for Toomey. One thing I would note is Ornn is on that first item Bramble Vest, which I think is really good against Mbessa and as well as Xin Zhao, just with that extra passive healing. So it's going to be pretty hard to actually go for these long extended trades against Ornn at this point in the game. So it's definitely going to be a lot of farming here for Instrument. Probably not what he would have liked as far as conditions, but they wanted to get that more favorable jungle matchup.
Ooh. They were able to find some sort of a fight here bot side. Toomey's going to force the flash from Hyrex, now turning on to Aragon. But just some roots. You can see Young Grease just no mana to really deal with that and burn that TP super early. So the Lost Trapper they're probably sitting on their inventory is not going to help, and Young Grease gets knocked up again by the Grand Entrance, but now Poom's going to meet Keall. They've probably pressed tab, realized maybe this Wukong might be a little strong, but we have the mana advantage right now. They're going to try and find the Wind Become Lightning onto Toomey, and it's just going to go a little wide here and just posturing at this moment.
Yeah. Interesting pathing there from Poom, just skipping all the camps immediately, covering for that gank, so allows the Ezreal some time to actually get a reset here when Ziggs is really one of those champs that tries to restrict it. Keall definitely spotted by that minion, maybe baiting out a little bit of a clone, and Jacob aptly just respecting it. You don't want to be jumped on by the Ahri post level 6 ticking over. We are seeing the second scuttle of the game, so at one point was the most important, according to some pro players, but at this point, a little bit less of an objective than previously thought. So,
just a nice to have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, level 6, you see it on the Wukong, but no play to be had immediately right now, so not going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things.
I do like this vision clearance, though. They've got this idea now that there can only be a ward on one side of the map. That's something you can abuse as like an optimization thing specifically. As, oh, the laner's only got one ward right now. I can maybe try and gank the opposite side of that specifically, but they so far are going to make advantage of that timer, and Young Grease can take a lot of damage from Hyrex there. Toomey, so it's just going to find a minion there. Can't quite catch up. Looks like Ezreal's going to give it to them, though. The tier 2 boot's definitely helping, and should just be out of there. That Rakan continue to be spotted mid, and they're trying to push this finish as best they can here for Ice 4.
Yeah, just well played there from Hyrex. Really good trade. Able to chunk out Zig, but the TP is coming back up. I'm not sure if it'll be in time for this recall, so I might have to wait around just a little bit, but still not the worst. But I think a good situation, all things considered. Look at that the wards on the bot side. Rakan just taking that free time in spades. You know, you got basically every entrance to the bot lane jungle covered at this point, so I don't know. It's going to be pretty hard to even find a gank here for the Wukong, and also just stay out of vision. Most notably, there's that control ward right outside the red buff pit, which often stays uncleared. Yeah,
those never get cleared, man. Those are it's such a kind of nowhere's bush that you have to really check. You have to go to your way to clear it, stop your clear even as junglers, or come back later. And unironically, you kind of just have to send your support to get rid of it. Because the tempo loss on jungle from times to clear that can be disastrous. That's like a 1 in a million thing, but you don't want to be that one. You never want to kind of watch your top laner get ganked while you're just hitting a pink or bot side. So far, though, no real jungle presence here towards this dragon, but it's starting now, and Toomey's making sure they've got this drive rush.
Yeah, they have full information on Wukong right now, so Poom's probably just going to elect to start the dragon right now since Aragon did the hard work of clearing the vision on it, but disengage coming through.
They're going to find a good route there. Grand Entrance going to land on Young Grease, and good True Shot Barrage finds some damage. Poom maybe electing to try and find this fight, but Super Mega Inferno Bomb, it's Death Bomb, I guess, close enough. Didn't do too much damage, but that's more onto Hyrex. They're going to pick it up with a Sky Clone, and Jacob in the area didn't quite get under threat, but all of a sudden just hung around here for some reason. Jacob just delivers a kill over to Ice4 and a good charm to start that off.
Yeah, Jacob, no knowledge there that there's a ward in that bush, so unfortunately he just gets taken down and picked off immediately. Hyrax just a little bit of an overextension thing they could commit for the fight, but I guess not expecting Smokey to have already made the trek over, so just an unfortunate look there. And Iceborn 4-1 off to a good start here, 2-0, despite how good the map setup was there for Strawberry How Evil.
It's very, it pays off in spades now. It doesn't quite start off on the Dragon here, but the big thing is those 2 kills in the Wukong. It's Trinity Force finished up now, and that should already start a little bit of work here in a Sundered Sky in this next reset, which is like the one punishable point that you can have as Wukong is when you rush this Trinity Force, your dueling power is great, but your team fight is pretty kind of iffy because you're squishy. You just don't get all that extra healing from the Sundered Sky. You don't get the extra HP. But as of right now, it's going to be perfectly fine. And speaking of perfectly fine, Jacob finding a good... Oh my. Everything in the kitchen sink got a poor old Smokey there. And they're starting to turn their eyes towards Grubs here.
Oh, we do have a fight on top side.
No. They're going to get comboed here. Bella's Breath found it. Instrument able to flash away to cancel that auto. And here comes the Cavalry topside. But I don't think they're going to be able to catch up Mulsaki.
Mulsaki trying to get out here. They do know that the Ornn's in this bush, so if Instrument can make the call... No, they're just going to call it off.
Is holding on.
They are just going to be taking up the Grubs here, so this does give a bit of a timer here for Keyhole to take that Dragon, especially since the Hyrax is in a pretty rough spot here. Toomey already going for the collapse on the back end.
Has flash. I don't think that's outplayable, man. Holy, nothing you could do there. And Keel, now, you know, technically, results-based analysis, they were wasting time there.
Yeah. I will say at least a good mid play. Like, that's a good sign for Strawberry How Evil. They recognize, hey, we don't have many timers to actually take down this Ahri, so getting her Spirit Rushes down is definitely very important. But they will be losing the drag for it, but they at least get the Grubs as a consolation prize. You know, at least the gold staying somewhat close despite, you know, a ramping CS lead in the bot lane. And, you know, I think mostly shout-outs to Jacob on the CS lead after that one kill just now. So trying to at least extend the lead a little bit while it's happening. So have to see. Poom now looking on the top side, but as I said before, this is a Bramble Vest chain mail. Ornn.
Yeah, it still takes some damage from Eclipse. And Abessa just having some naturally high numbers, so some amount of competitiveness is going to happen in this fight's topside, but overall, I think the beating is just going to kind of get answered with a lick of their chops here from Mulsaki. So moving through, I guess. Maybe don't gank the Ornn. I don't know. I want to set this Mbessa really far ahead because I feel like if my Mbessa's permafarming against Ornn, we're just kind of going to lose to scaling.
Yeah, I mean, Mbessa's not exactly the worst scaler, but you really want to engage her in one of these bigger fights come mid-game, but I don't know how many opportunities you're going to have. There's a lot of safe side laners here with the Ziggs, the Ahri, and even the Ornn as well, so it's just hard to exploit a kind of weak side. These are all good weak side, quote-unquote, champions, so it's just going to be pretty hard to actually engage the Mbessa unless there's another objective coming up, and unfortunately, there's just nothing up for another 4 minutes, so... Instrument though. Murasaki kind of in a greedy position, but doesn't matter. Smokey.
Ooh, good quickness though. Grand Entrance is gonna miss on a Smokey key. All happy to eat that one up, and just kind of saving your mid lane honestly for Aragon here. Now under threat, doesn't have Grand Entrance, doesn't even need it though. Hook not enough range. Depth charge forces the flash away from Jacob. Now trying to go win because lightning gonna be found, but now you're into the absolute blender that is the rest of Ice4. But they cheesed it and delivered the kill over. It's a shutdown picked up by Boom.
Yeah, good baiting there of the utility. Able to claim up the kill onto Keyhole as a kind of prize there. Wasn't expecting the Xinjiao in the wing. But, you know, still well played there, Smokey. Unfortunately unable to, like, exploit, really, that there was no shockwave.
This one's kind of outplaying themselves here a little bit. Full Ornhorn, that's not an outplay on themselves. Under the tower, though, Mulsaki flashed away. It's not close enough. Instrument did the work beforehand.
Yeah, very well played there, using the public execution to actually get through the Ornhorn. Very well played there from Instrument. So, showing off a little bit of prowess and doing it solo. So, kind of generating that lead on your own side is definitely very important for a carry pick like this.
It's just a sigh of relief, too, more than anything else. I got the solo kill before he got those damn Ornn upgrades is usually what I think when I'm dealing with an Ornn, so
Yeah,
gets you kind of in the right foot.
And that gets the gold even, so you definitely got to be feeling good about that for Strawberries Are Evil, considering how, you know, the early game didn't feel exactly the best. You got a Wukong with Trinity Force, like basically at just around 9.5 to 10 minutes, so being able to shut that down and generate some leads across the map is definitely good. They're looking for Aragon now.
Oh, Aragon got completely caught out. Well, Quickness going to get popped. Just happy to battle dance over towards Hyrex, and no extra engage. Quickness going to be down, or actually back up here for Dragon, but might be down for Herald. I don't think Evil actually wants to put themselves in a spot to contest this, though. Tep charge for the tower. Oh, Mega Inferno Bomb going to do a lot of damage. Young Grease mind controlled back into the next one. Hyrex going to take a lot of extra damage, but Happy flashing forward, dodging away. Young Grease going to take more damage on the side. Jacob picking up Keyhole with the help of Poom. And Hyrex with a double kill picked up. Evil put themselves in the spot.
Yeah, a little bit of a fumble there from Aragon, so this could have been an even bigger positive play here, but, you know, just everything turning out in Evil's favor. Just finding Keyhole on the side there with the Ori Xin Zhao, just definitely not what they were expecting. And pretty well played there from Hyrax. This is the difference of having an AD carry and, you know, a Ziggs is the consistent damage of a lethal tempo is still going to win you these longer fights.
Yeah, and it, just so much was burned to try and kill that Rakan, too. I think, they found a great pick. They forced Quickness out, and that's when you kind of start looking, okay, now would be, like, specifically right now would be the time where we look to try and make a play to take advantage of that lack of cooldown here. Just a little rushed in. Honestly, a little overconfidence from the last play. It went so well last time. Honestly, I don't blame them for trying to burst down Aragon and just get away with it there, but Poom this time on the right side of the map to correct that.
Yeah, Smokey looks like he wants to play onto Jacob. This is a pretty good timer here. With Wukong kind of in the area, but is spotted out on the ward, and Xin Zhao's not going to make Keyhole's life comfortable. Just go for the fight, but doesn't find the knockup, so it's just going to be called off, but Drag is spawning right now, so this is good pressure to have. Toomey, don't want to be caught out here.
Damage, bot side, there's that Quickness backup. Zeke's keeping them down. Young Grease holding onto that satchel. Actually, they burned it earlier, trying to start the fight. Quickness there, flashed away with the great entrance there, and burns that depth charge too. This is no Dragon contest here for Ice4 now, and they might lose more if Jacob can fish.
Yeah, this is a very wise just give at this point. You're only one, you know, you're not that invested in the Drake strategy just yet, only having one in your pocket, so not worth giving up some extra kills potentially over. And Evil doing a really good job of snowballing the slight window they had. Now 2.5, almost 2.5 gold, 2.5k gold lead now available to them. So, and also turning their sights toward Rift Herald, which can extend that even further. So definitely not looking the best. First turret slain on the bot side with that Ezreal. So the Ziggs, who you want to get out on the map early, is just stuck in this bot lane so far, and not even getting the first turret definitely is not going to feel so great for Young Grease.
No, it does suck, especially with how well they were playing those early lanes. Those early levels going super well for this Ziggs Nautilus, but Nautilus had to get active on the map pretty quick to try and make up for some deficits happening across, and that gave just brief windows for Evil to take advantage of it. And you mentioned they were doing so good at it, and here's one of those advantages. Toomey just kind of caught out warding on their own, and God, it's a horror game when you're playing support warding, and Toomey didn't respect that.
Yeah, carrot on a stick there, the control ward. The mind control works out for Aragon there, and
it works
now
too
Poom.
well.
It's actually insane, you know. It's just a control ward, but that's 75 gold for a support. That's pretty juicy. Poom will take away the blue buff here, so going to be pretty good here. Smokey on the side lane, trying to match up to Jacob to see how that ends up playing out with Keyhole in the wing. Does avoid any wards. Doesn't actually get pinged out on the gate there either, so I don't know if they have any info that the Wukong is in that area, so sight to see now. Xin Zhao walking towards that bot side.
He's going to discover
do
this,
have
and
some
the
info
ball
now.
did too. They've got the info. They actually want to fight this. Smite away their own Gromp. Poom's going to get it. Able to dodge away from the Charm too. Continuing to push forward, but they're right at that line for the ball. Just broke it, so Poom doesn't have that on them anymore.
No turret.
And they're calling over Aragon. No turret either, so they continue going. Poom going to find this fight. Charm going to land. Crescent Guard pop. There it goes. Cyclone going to go into Jacob here, getting ran down. Mega Inferno Bomb over from the top. Jacob taking too much damage. Quickness finally barely able to save, but Aragon did their job perfectly. Poom's going to pick up the kill. The Keyhole now. Turning onto Tommy. Looking to find that depth charge, but there's no follow-up there. It's just going to knock up the Orianna off screen, and the double kill picked up by Poom. Looking to keep this going on Tommy. Winds become lightning, just barely dodged away with the Hexgate. Good Hexgate from Toomey, but you're on the wrong side of the map. You're going to get hunted here.
Yeah, probably just going to go for a recall here, or maybe potentially an execute, but I'll have to see if they're able to actually interrupt it, but doesn't seem like Aragon's going to get there in time. So we'll barely make it out there. So honestly, could have been a lot worse. You'll take it at the very least, but good coordination there from Iceborn 4-1. But the Xin Zhao just too strong at this stage of the game for kind of those more extended fights where the focus is just a little bit split. You really need to just pump everything into something like a Sundered Sky Xin Zhao before he can start getting that healing online with the passive as well. So just did not work out very well. And now Murasaki.
Horn to clear the wave, TP coming. It's the wrong direction for it though. Bella's Breath trying to find the damage. Poom taking up one last tower shot. Smokey has the clear guard, going straight on top, picking up that shutdown, and can't look for any more here. True Shot Broad going to put a lot of damage on Toomey here, and there's the Quickness going to find Hook, going to go wide there, as now it's getting turned on. Keyhole, Hyrix going to go forward, flashing over the wall, followed with the Cyclone there. Good knock up there. Battle Dance going to get stopped there. Next one also canceled. It's a shutdown picked up here by Young Grease. Aragon able to get away, but you're missing your teammate.
Yeah, and in the meantime here, we're going to see a quick flashback here. How did Smokey actually end up going down? Trying to find Instrument on the tail end here, just not expecting the burst to come through. Orianna there on top, and, you know, it looks good in the mid lane, but unfortunately with Yari going down, it's still just an even play. Actually, you're still down a member, if anything, because Toomey went down very early on, so yeah, just not working out that great.
How long ago was it that you said it was 2.5? Like 4 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago?
Yeah, something like that. It's definitely quickly progressing here. And that's kind of what the composition with the Mbessa Xin Zhao can do. You could just kind of walk at people, and if they don't have a bigger wallet, and they're not as coordinated as you are, it's going to be pretty hard to actually contest these fights. Zig's really about stabilizing the game, not really about, you know, coming back in them usually. So curious to see if it'll come true. At least you get to catch a lot of waves, but until it's really online, the damage is not going to be there to assist with a lot of the bursts that you really need for Xin Zhao.
And your members that are meant to be creating opportunities for your Mega Inferno Bomb, like the big combo that you kind of pick Ziggs for right now, how long are they going to last in fights here? This Ornn is pretty tanky, but you're still dealing with so much coming at you, and you're really the only person standing up there. Toomey can't really get that done for long, and Keyhole isn't going to live too long in these team fights either. Sundered Sky is picked up, so should be able to live through a full Cyclone duration, but everything after that's kind of like borrowed time for this Wukong in these fights. And yeah, you mentioned that it's all about that wall, it's all about steamrolling, and I hear that Ornhorn from topside there. Mosaki able to find that knockup onto Jacob here, but ambitious with the play, and now it's a cooldown they can abuse here for Eagle.
Yeah, and they're going to claim up the Hextech Drake, so this is Hextech Soul, so if there's any soul to be stacking, it's definitely this one, so you gotta be a little bit careful on how many you end up giving up on this early game before, you know, the game really solidifies itself. And Toomey,
Aragon able to find that Battle Dance, or not Battle Dance, like the Great Entrance going to go onto Young Greaves, and they're able to find that knock of Hyrax, caught out pretty well. Now Smokey dashing forward, good Charmer to the backline here. Keyhole with the Cyclone locks down that Rakan, can't get away. Holy, some work done here by Ice4.
yeah, Hyrax just not seeing the two extra members coming in, so walks towards a disadvantageous angle and just gets immediately bursted out. And that's an Ezreal you've been consistently relying on a lot of these fights for consistent damage, and it has, you know, with him going down, it's just too hard to get through the extra burst. Jacob now looking for Nautilus on the side, will stop the recall. Poom is in the area.
That's direction.
No shockwave.
Yeah, no shockwave here, so Keyhole just has to get away with their blood, sweat, and tears clone so far. Poom gonna stay sticky and didn't fall for the trick at all here. Now wants to continue that. Can't quite get closer to Toomey here, but Space Bot and Baron might be a threat here. They think so.
Yeah, they're going to look for it. Ezreal will be pretty quick on actually taking it out, but they will see this happening with that ward over the wall, but they won't have info on it. Ziggs is going to have to be a crucial member here. You need to land a lot of poke.
They just got a glimpse of it on that Baron. The turnoff, though, they want this fight more than anything else, looking for the exit because they already picked up that Baron so quick. The response was expectedly slow.
Yeah, that's a little bit rough. Your timers just weren't aligned there, and the Ornn that's supposed to be so tanky is going to be, kind of out of the fights for just a little bit here. Doesn't actually have any MR, so pretty susceptible to the Orianna, just kind of taking you down. And Rabadon's almost online here for Jacob, so gotta be a little bit careful now. Smokey trying to look for Hyrax in mid.
Smokey's still fishing here. Mega Inferno Bomb on a Hyrax. Charm going to go wide there. Quickness. Grand Entrance going to miss, but Aragon's still going through the full front line, able to knock down or charm everyone here. Depth charge onto Hyrax. That's going to get a key haul, what they need to go into the back line, but no extra fall, no extra kills. Shockwave picking up Young Grease. No extra kills for Ice 4, but Evil able to trade away the 80 carry for the APC. Eyes are starting to set on these towers. They've got this Baron.
Still a well-played fight there from Iceborn 4-1, so you can see, like, they have some correct pieces here for actually mounting a good team fight, but the wallet differential is definitely being felt at this current moment. Aragon also, with some fancy feet to dodge away there, definitely a little bit suboptimal, because they would have come out with a man advantage after that fight if the Rakan ends up going down. So, yeah, pretty rough here. It's really unfortunate Smokey couldn't secure the kill quicker onto Ezreal. The Charm going wide definitely screwed up a lot of the tempo and forced a kind of split situation that you don't really want with the Wukong.
You need I feel like you just need snap decision fights here from Ice 4. You just need to be very quick with everything, and because if you're stalling cooldowns, Evil have so much to work with here in these fights, and no one, like, the longest cooldown that you have to worry about here as Evil is Grand Entrance from Rakan, which is like 8 seconds or so. Everyone else is kind of just playing Earth. Let's be super honest here about it. So if you aren't quick, if you aren't bursting someone right away for Ice 4, you're not setting an example, they can get away with stuff like this. They could just run through your entire jungle because they are in confidence that you're not going to respond in time.
Yeah. Is that the same control ward from the start of the game? I'm not 100% sure, but...
Yeah, the one they just cleared?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so, just a chill 20-minute ward. No big deal.
Kind of good. Saw like 5 champions, 6 champions, saw 3 clears, just kind of a good ward.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. Instrument is here on the fight, and you always gotta be wary of the potential of
like a
public execution. Does get the quickness out there, so Aragon forced to use a pretty big cooldown. Jacob, big shockwave before this horn.
Oh, that was a massive shockwave. They don't have a lot of HP to work with here, but they still have enough for a keyhole to go to the backline. Continue to chase Cyclone with the bonus boost. He can't quite close on the Hyrax. The Smite trying to find the duration, not able to do it. Instrument getting turned on. Depth Charge going to find now. Flash forward for Poom, able to find that. True Shot Barrage picking up 1. Hits the second, looking for more. Hyrax able to get that good Grand Entrance there, finds Mosaki's knockup, but Mosaki able to get that trade away. Now Charm gonna hit into the minion. Mosaki still eating the damage, trying to find the Bell's Breath. Slap with the flash, able to pick up the double kill now. Turning onto the Ornn here, good knockup, keeps them down. Another slap, another Bell's Breath. No way, it's not close enough. Evil still able to get somewhat out of the fight there by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, the Hex Drinker there coming up huge, or just the straight up Maw there for Instrument. If that's not online, this is a much worse fight there. And, you got to say, really well played there from Murasaki to find Hyrax and Aragon on that initial Ornn Horn. Definitely saving the play after a pretty big one from Jacob with that Shockwave, but doesn't matter. The Xin Zhao still full HP, able to grab up this next dragon, and that puts them at sole fight. You can see that these are teams that are close in actual, performance here, but it's just hard to win a more extended fight like that when you have these kind of stronger lifesteal bruisers of the Mbessa and the Xin Zhao. But either way, well played from Iceborn 4-1.
And the Rakan just lived for so long. There's no business Aragon got to live for that long here. And, speaking of Rakan, able to find Smokey there, caught out with the quickness, but now has to get out of here. Another cooldown burn. Keyhall looking to find this fight. Boom. Happy to stand up there, and the bluff wasn't called there. 100% Poop probably should have died there.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tricky with the ult there from Xin Zhao, so not gonna actually end up triggering it here. Instrument really wants to take down this turret, so it frees up a little bit of space on the map, but not able to do so. And at this stage of the game, you really have to be careful of something like a bush cheese from any of these members. If Ari's in the area, you know, anyone could really go down besides maybe Xin Zhao can survive out. So, yeah, we're getting to the point where, I mean, right now gold's going to matter a lot, but give it another 10 minutes and the Ornn, just the passive gold of just having an Ornn in general is going to definitely make up that difference. So, gotta be a bit careful here if you're Strawberries How Evil.
I'm starting to tick about now. You're starting to kind of hear that clock behind you, but you've done all the work you need to have a good advantage, so you can still kind of work with it. You can definitely still contest at this next Baron. You can definitely still contest at this next Dragon here, which is going to be your soul point, or your soul specifically here for Evil. So a very strong soul to pick up. It's going to be that Hextech soul. So like they've done all the work they need to. They've controlled this top side super well. Look at the vision in that red side or in that blue side there in the top side. There's nothing here for Ice 4 here, and they've got to get wise soon, but can they contest the space?
They want to engage on mid here, seeing a lot of pings towards Young Grace.
Oh, quickness, able to find the knockup they want. Public Execution just gonna burst. Young Grace there was just an afterthought in the fight. Toomey and Keyhall barely lasting longer themselves. Boom going on a rampage, turning their sets towards Baron.
Huge engage there. They call the trigger, and I mean, one thing there is it's so hard to win a fight if your Ziggs is the first one engaged on, and there is no escape for a Ziggs at that point. So well played there from Aragon, but you gotta wonder, what's the flash in tow? You know, if Young Grease actually flashes that, I feel like the positioning is kind of hard to play out after that. But hey, when it triggers out, Evil's just gonna win out on that fight, and they'll claim the prize of that Baron going into this next Drake. That is so important.
It's so important. They've got the bonus stats for the entire time up to the Baron or up to the Dragon. So, you know, some good news for Ice 4. You don't have to face the extra Baron stats. You are gonna have to face the gold and the waves and the already diminishing gold lead that or the already growing gold lead that Evil has, and you know, your disappointed parents and that you're behind in the game right now, 8,000 gold, but Keyall and Toomey don't seem to want to keep that going. They're going to push onto Aragon here. Finds the Naka, pulled out of that blast plant there, and good charm going to lock that down for Mulsaki. Some pick some space in this, but a growing issue bot side.
Yeah, Intrabit finally going to crack this turret on the bot side, so we'll claim up that extra gold as well as just clearing up the map just a little bit. Gives you a little bit more space to play ward, put wards down, and chill out here. But yeah, really good buffer there by Toomey to actually claim up that kill onto Aragon. It's going to be pretty hard to stick out if that didn't actually end up landing. Now, a lot of pressure towards bot side. They definitely want to fight here into Instrument at least. Not knowing Poom is in the area, but definitely knowing now with the camps being cleared out. So, going to show the respect that is due. Smokey pinging towards the jungle. Wants to play on mid. Keyhall and Smokey trying to combine here onto Hyrax.
Hyrax, you're unsupervised. What happened to your battle buddy? Followed up with the Cyclone. Smokey over the wall with the Spirit Rush there. That's an impactful pick.
Yeah, just not expecting it on a timer. You probably should by all means. And with Ezreal going down, that's definitely not optimal, I'll say, at the very least. 15 seconds here on the drag. And they're going to have to be playing this 4v5, especially with the TP coming through. It might just have to be a give.
Short range TP there, but Mulsaki in range now, and I agree that Dragon is 100% going to go the way of Ice 4. Now you could shift topside. Looks like they are going to do that here for Evil. You're going to try and pressure this tower as much as they can, and no one can arrive in time. Smokey and Young Grease can TP, but I mean I'm calling dives every day of the week if I see those two under a tower alone.
Yeah, they're definitely going to try and, you know, make it there. They are all backing, all running immediately, all five towards that top lane. But they are going to see no extended play there, so just going to call it off. But yeah, pretty big mistake there by Hyrax. Just give a little bit of a window here for Iceborn 4-1 to stall out the game. You know, having to deal with the Hextech Soul Ezreal is not exactly going to feel that great come these team fights. So really solid that they're able to deny it before this next Baron comes up.
We can maybe start kind of nudging about, Hex Tech Ziggs is just as strong. And that's kind of a growing possibility here. But Poom and Aragon moving with the rest of that death ball into this top side here. Dragon or Baron is so far away. Dragon even more. It's just about these towers and collecting farm, and I mean that's gonna benefit my Ornn right now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Ornn definitely going to be one of the benefactors. I will say, already at that level 18 mark, so we'll have all of the Ornn items available to him. No real extra invisible gold to be had from this point on. But generally, I feel like the math previously was like, it's like 5k worth of stats, something like that.
Dude, it's ridiculous because you give the item stats, and then every upgrade Ornn also gets like 1,000 in stats. Something ridiculous like that.
So something like
it's a lot.
Something like 8,000 gold. I'd say like 4 items, 4 plus the 4 stacks, whatever. Either way, definitely a lot of invisible gold that you can't really track right now going on. But since they already are at about an 8,000 gold lead for Evil, it's kind of just neutral. But you put so much work in the game and end up kind of neutral at this point. You really want to get those drags because that is where the window kind of falls, where the invisible gold kind of balances out. So curious to see if it'll end up pulling through here. Instrument now also towards the mid lane. They don't want to be engaged on in a numbers advantage or numbers disadvantage at that point. So kind of just making sure everyone's at least one lane away. And Murasaki definitely trying to get force down, but this is an Ornn now with the MR that he was lacking prior. So it's gonna be very difficult to actually chunk through this HP bar.
Have any desire to try and deal with that as of now, so just kind of hitting the lull state just a little late into this game and setting up some death brushes here. Poom gonna try and find some angle onto Toomey, but Toomey's doing a good job making sure those gaps are closed here. And now maybe you send Instrument bot side at this point. You've got that empowered TP, but I mean that's all you've got. You just have to kind of drag Ice4 around the map here as Evil and really try and make them spread out their resources and concentrate into one spot. But so far, it looks like Evil's just trying to get away with concentrating their power.
Yeah, they will have to be forced to walk into this jungle right now. And we talked about how important it is to engage first if you are Iceborn 4-1. It's going to be kind of difficult here now, Toomey.
Able to get caught on up. Poom gonna go there. Good quickness in the backline, but the Grand Entrance already burned here. Comes the Ornn Horn through the backside. Aragon already away. Hyrax finally starting their damage. Jacob had to go golden now. Finally gonna fall kill. Gonna pick up the kill. Smokey taking a lot of damage to the backline. There comes the Cyclone straight through the entirety of Evil's lines. Hyrax has to carry as best they can. Spun up with that lethal tempo. Poom gonna go for the re-engage. Murasaki not really caring. They're trying to peel their support. Poom continues ripping a hole straight through Ice4's backline onto Smokey. Charm gonna land, but it's delaying the inevitable. Poom catching up. Hyrax picking it up just off screen here. Evil out of the skin of their teeth, continuing it.
Yeah, they find the fight there. I mean, really hard fight, to be honest, with Jacob going down immediately without even utilizing the shockwave there, but just the extended fight with an AD carry and a Xin Zhao is definitely enough there. Hyrax and Poom clean up the pieces, and they're able to end the game here in game 1 after a pretty nice performance as far as establishing this is how you play tempo, and they did a really good job in this one. But definitely some windows for winning it out here for Iceborn 4-1 that they could leverage in the future games.
It's I kind of mentioned the phrase of it's just doing your homework. You make sure you get ahead in the early game. You make sure you're the one setting the pace. You're the one setting the tempo, and you can really just pick and choose wherever, and it helps a lot when you've got a mid jungle like Poom and Aragon. Holy, the vision control on this map was nuts from the side of Evil. There was no counterplay at all. You walk into any jungle and it's warded. They know exactly what you're doing here for Evil, so Ice4 have to kind of adapt off hearing about this, off kind of recognizing that, okay, they kind of knew all our moves, they knew exactly how they're supposed to deal with this. And yes, the Ziggs pick is gone, so like, we can technically take this as as one of those fearless wins. You've got 5. It's a best of 5. You got the games to work with it, but you lose in this fashion as well to what I consider to be quite a few kind of, specifically in the bot lane, like kind of the B tiers, the A minuses of the AD carry meta right now. And what are they going to do when they've got a Corki or an Ashe in their hands?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they end up adapting, considering I mean, you had some good picks, and I think the draft was pretty interesting with the way that they, baited the Ziggs, and so that you could put it in the bot lane against the Ahri. Unfortunately, the Nautilus Ziggs combination didn't really work out early on, where the Ezreal Rakan seemed to just have their number in that one. Since, as I said before, I mean, okay, it wasn't an easy lane at all for Hyrax. That's just the nature of Ziggs Nautilus, and they were able to get those dives going. But they couldn't get the turret killed first to get the Ziggs out on the map first, and I feel like that was a really big missed opportunity. If Ziggs is already pressuring the Orianna in that 8 to 10 minute mark, you could really exploit that advantage a lot further, and kind of we didn't end up seeing that since Smokey ended up getting picked a couple times, and Jacob extended that lead appropriately. So I think really well played here from Evil. We'll have to see how Iceborn 4-1 actually comes back in this one, because there's still a lot of games to be played. At least 2 more. We'll have to see if they can make it 3, 4, 5. Who knows?
Ice 4, lot to look into. And hey, don't have to deal with that Ziggs anymore, so a little more free in these next couple game drafts. We'll see you after the short break once the Game 2 draft starts. Welcome back, everybody. After a short little break here, popping into Game 2 draft real quick. Ice 4 had a competitive experience against Evil, but Evil just too much homework done, got too much of a lead here. So coming to this next game, I don't really know exactly how they can change it other than just not falling behind.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good when the fights actually were happening and they didn't get too caught off guard with a big engage like that mid lane fight. So it seems like they could definitely compete in this series and, make this a close one. We go to game 5. But also, Evil was really good at generating, passive gold leads throughout the map. And that's something that you have to always be concerned with in the early game. If your more explosive team comp doesn't really come out to a big lead, those little passive gold generating revenue sources for the side of Evil could really, really start to rear its ugly head and kind of tuck away Iceborn 4-1 before they're able to get anything off the ground. So you got to be a little bit careful, or maybe just index even harder into stuff that wins early on. The Wukong definitely was something that's a little bit more of a mid-game scaler. You're not really picking it to play the early game, and then unfortunately with the Mbessa flex towards the top side, you ended up in this really unfavorable matchup, which usually you'd ban away. But just kind of the nature of how that draft ended up going. So yeah, I'm curious to see how they actually end up picking here. I really do want an aggressive mid jungle here for Iceborn 4-1, but you could always index for a little bit more of a safe pick now that the Ornn's gone.
Yeah, with Ornn gone, there's still super tanks, of course. We've still got our Mundo and our Scions kind of hanging around, but I'm kind of expecting a bruiser game from both these top laners, installing those picks pretty late. The big thing, though, that's up, Ashe Seraphine's entirely through here. Caitlyn kind of anticipation. I feel like this is just one of the freest Ashe Seraphine angles from Ice 4 here. Already a good AD carry matchup, and yeah, you're gonna kind of struggle if they got something in the pocket here. Nico is banned, and Karma as well, but yeah, you could just Kate Lux here, and it looked pretty good. But Vera's also on the table, another strong AD carry coming on through, and this is kind of what I was talking about. Of we're gonna be seeing these strong AD carries almost for the rest of the series.
I do like that the Kate, they don't immediately snap something like an Ashe Seraphine here. They just go with the Varus, something solid you can actually play around. Still gives you a good damage threat as well with that Varus as well. And Mel's actually a pretty good pick. You could flex it down to support. I've been seeing that a little bit more often than before, but we are seeing Zyra here, which is actually a flex pick. Don't forget, this could be going towards that jungle as well for Poom. So it is an interesting flex pick that also works really well with Caitlyn. So, oh, never mind. It's Skarner. And trust me, those Skarner buffs that a couple patches ago were not enough to put him back in the top lane. So this is most likely just going to be at Skarner jungle, and Zyra is the pairing. They like it a little bit more than the Lux, it seems, and we're going to be seeing a Mundo as a response pick. Definitely just trying to match wherever the Skarner could potentially go, since that should be a pretty free matchup for them.
Yeah, it kind of just puts Skarner's best possible clear speed in line with most of the other tank junglers. More than anything else, so it kind of felt like it was a numbers buff that didn't actually really respond to actual gameplay changes, which is was fine. And in theory, he can be better, but in practice, he kind of gets to sit around the same level. And I'm not confident in seeing blind Skarners like this personally, especially if we're putting Poom on that, who had a phenomenal last game on a carry. I'm a big fan of kind of letting a player who's hot already and ready to keep going just kind of let the ball continue to roll in the next game here. But maybe they're just the god of Skarner, and I'm not a knower, and I'm a non-believer here. But K'Sante coming through does kind of confirm that. Kind of locks you down. Actually, you're not specifically able to follow the Skarner if it were to just so happen to go top lane, and yeah, that leaves you open specifically to this KO, which has been I've heard rumors of how awful this matchup is, but
it is
now
terrible.
I get to see it demonstrated.
It is terrible, and you could see Iceborn 4-1 definitely thinking about those kinds of picks. Azir and Vayne could potentially make their way up towards that top lane as well, so those bans are definitely leaning that way, and they just pick kind of the most classic one of them all, the Kayle, as an answer to K'Sante, and then a nice classic mage in the mid lane with that Victor. So it's going to be pretty interesting. They basically put Iceborn 4-1 on a timer, which I feel like is already how they kind of play anyways for Evil, where, hey, we're going to be a little bit more efficient across the map, just in little tiny places where we're grabbing a little bit more farm across it. And can Iceborn 4-1 kind of take advantage of that? They don't have the best engage. They have a lot of poke. with the Mel, Varus, Hui, so they should have at least a way to get through this kind of Caitlyn Zyra wall that you would expect towards these objectives, but it's not exactly going to be so easy to actually secure a fight win when you're dealing with a Skarner, a Kayle, a Victor. These are all champs that are very hard and tricky to deal with come mid-game fights, and I mean, when you have this many carries and you don't have that many good AoE abilities to kind of take advantage of them, it could be kind of difficult to actually make sure that all of these carries you need to take down the Caitlyn, the Victor, and the Kayle as well.
Zyra.
Yeah, and even Zyra, who's well known for doing a lot of damage. It could be pretty difficult come late game, especially if they're a little bit behind where they can't just immediately burst someone out. And it really comes to question, is it really the best to just go for the poke Varus? I know already leaning that way with that Comet as well, but I'm really concerned about the damage come mid-game when Kayle's able to, kind of nullify the burst with the ults. And then what do you got left in the tank after that?
Mm-hmm. And on top of that too, another kind of like big kind of honestly positive here for Evil is when I see people pick these Caitlyn, like find these Caitlyn angles and they pick it, I always see them then pick a bunch of other lanes that desperately also need help from the jungle, and they're going to take away a lot of this pressure. Caitlyn's power comes in just how oppressive she is when she's already got a lead. The Caitlyn's can struggle to generate it. It's not impossible, but and the Zyra is definitely going to put a good dent in allowing this Caitlyn to just get a lead naturally. But you see a Caitlyn come back with a BF sword, dude, it's GG. What am I going to do? She's going to hit me with a full combo, and it's like 3/4 of my HP. So I do like this angle that they picked. Poom is on a great facilitator to give them that lead. Instrument's in a phenomenal matchup with this Caitlyn here, and Victor is never really under proper threat, right? The ganks are coming from a Mundo with no ghost, so it's got to be like a cleaver flash stick on top and then another cleaver, and Jacob still has to not flash and grab field in order to die to that. So this is a pretty solid idea from Evil here in Ice 4, kind of just running the beef boys. You mentioned that Mel in the support, and I wasn't a fan of hearing that, honestly. I don't think this is a I don't really like this angle at all for Mel. I think she's so strong when she's got those items. Yeah, she's oppressive at, that one item spike that supports can reach consistently, but dude, you get into the dog days of a game here and you're a mage support, it kind of sucks. You don't do anything.
And I mean, they have Victor too, which famously goes through Windwall with basically most of his kit, so it's not going to be exactly so easy. Jacob, though, wants the solo.
Speaking of angles, looking for that solo there, is dragged away. Kill's going to show up, flash into the bush. Poom, happy to show up there. But I don't think these tanks are going to have the stopping power against each other here, so Jacob and Smokey kind of both slapped on the wrist and make it out alive.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good play there from Jacob, because it actually also baited Keyhall off of this double scuttle that he could have potentially gotten on the Skarner. Skarner's notoriously terrible clear now. Big reflect there.
Oh, lot coming down towards Aragon, but Hyrex is just standing in the face of Young Grease and happy to stand down to pick up that kill. Toomey's going to fall for the first blood.
Beautiful trap there by Hyrax. Just really good awareness on the movement. It's famous Caitlyn player, Saber, always said it's a skill shot, really, is the W, so good to see that play come out here. Jacob
is just marked for death at this point. Smokey's holding on to these abilities. Never mind. Didn't have the cooldowns. There's no reason Jacob should get out of that alive there.
I mean, just Hui pre-level 6 things going on right there, so Jacob able to barely squeak away and get the flash out of Smokey as well, so this is kind of when you want Hui to have an advantage, because Victor, the few champions that Victor loses to in lane is generally things that outrange it, such as, and also kill it, but mostly outrange it, stuff like Xerath, for instance, something that's been traditionally difficult. So you'd imagine Hui in a similar situation, but yeah, it just didn't work out there in the kill, and then just that extra pressure from forcing out some of that mana pool earlier in the game, and I don't know, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they, Smokey kind of lives up to this lane in particular, since last game also didn't go the greatest. Jacob, I think, had a little bit of his number come mid-game after the initial couple plays from the Spirit Rush coming through.
Yeah, and on top of that, Jacob is already established a 10 CS lead, just this early on. And that's going to give you, as Victor, a ton of space to work with here. These reflects have been really good from Toomey onto Aragon so far. Keel now showing a bot side cleaver. Going to go out of the minion. The arrow going to do some damage, but Hyrix continuing to just walk forward in the face of danger. I saw someone mention, like, Hyrix plays an 80 carry like a man should, and I mean, gender norms be damned. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, definitely just walking forward, and I'll dodge the ability, don't worry. Toomey now wants to find the engage here. Hyrex.
I'll dodge the ability. Yeah, okay, keeps it up. Hyrex does have to flash with the arrow, though, and that root's gonna pop the shield onto Keyhall here. No one quite in the range to follow up, but the zoning worked. Evil picked up that dragon.
Yeah, Evil able to grab up that dragon. Pretty good here with the Ocean Drake as well. Definitely something Kale would love in this one, so nice to see. Cassante, this may be the one window where you have a really good chance of solo killing Kale, is right at this level 6. Free Kale getting first item. Does have the Swifty, so actually is going to be pretty hard to actually lock down for both the Mundo and the Cassante, so I really do like this purchase. Pretty much the only way you're probably going to end up getting taken down is Hyrex just walking forward.
Just walking forward in the face of everything. I don't even know how you deal with that as the spotlight. How do you deal with a Caitlyn that is just dodging everything?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, excuse me, but I was just gonna say, like, Zyra gets to just click. You know, if she just never clicks E, I don't know how the Mel ever engages on the Caitlyn. Oh, like that. Okay, it was flashed away from. So
barely. That's gonna pop the Stranglethorns. Those die one shot to the tower, so it's just some extra damage and zoning here to guarantee a plate. All things considered, not too bad, and is just gonna pick up a kill. Toomey walked too far forward by the looks of it. We're gonna see the Stranglethorns pop out again, and Toomey sees that cooldown pops, knows that Hyrex doesn't have flash. They saw that earlier here, and they're trying to dodge away. Specifically, they're trying to block that ace in the hole here, and Toomey just went too far forward. Chains of Corruption here gonna land, and there's no follow-up. HP bar's too low, and Evil just imposing their will on this map.
yeah, Toomey sacrifice for the 80 carry. Did actually have barrier, so not sure if that actually would have killed here. Aragon maybe overstaying a little bit, not knowing a Mundo is in the wing, but not going to get punished for it at all. So just going to cancel that back from Young Grease and get back to the base himself. So far looking really good for the side of Evil. And don't forget, they have the Skarner Kale and come the mid game.
Oh, he's got ult. Holding on to this for a long time. Smokey Sting's gonna miss, and Smokey's out of there.
Yeah, and I think also the Q also kind of ticking out there for Poom, so a little bit of an inopportune play there. I think if everything just lands there, that's a guaranteed kill onto Smokey, but doesn't even get the flash burn here. So definitely would have been looking for more. Now the range advantage for the Kale coming through. Swifty Boot's still the only thing in the pockets of Kale, so I have to imagine a lot of gold that Kale is sitting on. So Instrument really just trying to leverage the lead generated and play away from Murasaki's potential engage here.
Looking to stay aggressive, going all out, pops that ultimate, and we're just gonna... Director Camp does not care about that fight anymore once it sees that Kale ultimate, which tells me nothing happened afterwards.
Yeah, so just like that, the Kale gets away from the first level, you know, all out here from Murasaki, and flash available.
It's getting ran down. Yeah, those Swifties definitely putting in as much damage as possible. Murasaki only living because that's the item in Instrument's inventory, but just a reminder of how bad this matchup here is for Cassante. Chains of Corruption going to get burned here by Young Grease. I like, honestly, I'm happy burning it in that angle there. You catch it, freest kill of your life, right? And if you don't use it, someone's going to be mad once they see that angle.
Yeah, it does look a little bit goofy there, but yeah, if you end up hitting it, it is definitely a guaranteed kill there. Just with the Mundo in the wing as well, but it would have cost a lot of HP for sure, with the Zyra still fully available for the kit. Murasaki just sticking around, trying to bait out here on Keyhall, who is actually going to make his way around. Instrument we'll have the Skarner in the wing, but it's not gonna be so
Solo.
easy.
Kill's got to find all this damage on their own. Has to stick on top with no boots at all against Swifties. They can't do it at all here. And honestly, great leading by Instrument. It's going to pull them away from these grubs. And Poom was doing that. Yes, had priority top. Yes, had priority mid. But it's kind of an opportunity at least to walk down, look for a steal. Yeah, I know you would die, but like, I'm very shocked there wasn't even an attempt to look. So I do like what Keel's doing there, giving this Kazante the much deserved and needed farm.
Yeah, Toomey now trying to find Aragon, but just unfortunately going wide with the E there, so not going to be able to actually convert into anything greater. And this is looking like a pretty rough game here for Iceborn 4-1. They don't have the scaling advantage, and they just haven't found anything across the map 10 minutes into this game. It's, yeah, they haven't even gotten a drag. The Grub's also going the other way. It's just, it's looking like one of those shutout games where the draft just seems kind of unplayable. I think the Kale on that final rotation there just really sealing the deal here for picks.
It's too good. You know, K'Sante used to be that champion where it's like there is no counter, you just pick K'Sante and kind of auto win the game, but Kale does a great job at minimizing this here, and Instrument has been doing a great job not getting caught out by any Aaron and Tofo strikes, not giving up yourself to stupid kills at all, trying to keep up lethal tempo. That's something I see a lot of Kales do, is just try to keep the fights going for longer than they really deserve to be. And Hyrex here, bot lane, has been just running with any little advantage they've gotten here. Yeah, not like a big CS lead, but 2 kills. 2 kills is a lead, and that's going to give them the pressure they want to start turning onto this dragon.
Yeah, now they are trying to find Poom there. A good flash away there is going to kind of nullify a lot of the entry damage that they could actually go for. Keyhall now just going to go for the flip here. No smite advantage on either side. 900.
Just trying. Oh, stolen away by Keyhall. Trying to get away as best they can. Aragon took a lot of damage. Hyre's going to have to flash away. Arrows through their heart. Picks it up for Young Grease, and now able to get away from the Chaos Storm. Keyhall's just throwing cleavers into them, forcing the flashes over the wall. Ice 4. They got their win.
Yeah, pretty good fight there. They played it very split apart, which is really good when you are dealing with a Zyra in particular. Ace in the hole, not enough damage to close out the kill on the Smokey with the extra shielding of WW, one of my favorite abilities. So, barely staying alive there. Well played there from Smokey, but yeah, good play there from Iceborn 4-1, at least getting something on the map. Still 2k gold down, but you'll definitely take this kind of advantage when it was looking so dire before. Instrument, though.
Pop that.
Both
doubleters pop their ultimate.
Dodges away.
Yeah.
We'll get hooked up. The Skarner is here.
Dry Kazante kills. Name a better combo here. Vilsaki's gonna run out of all out now. Instrument has kited them out so well. Poom in the area. That is starting to add up a little bit. Sting gonna land, but it's just canceled out with that unstoppable. And now Keyhall, the next target. Instrument doesn't want to get hit by any errant cleavers. They'll still do deal damage. And the flash gonna be scary with that Heartsteel proc. Keyhall picking up the kill on Instrument.
Yeah, just doesn't have the items there to actually go for a fight here. Hyrax now able to walk forward. The turret is taken down on the bot side. So the Caitlyn generating the lead. Smokey now very low. Able to survive though.
Jacob. Are they holding on to Spiraling Despair still?
Yeah.
Eyes deceive me? Unfortunately.
They do not deceive you. It's pretty interesting. I would think you just try and use it to get out of that scenario, but instead just able to walk away, and we'll maybe go for engage later on.
I think you always rip it as a part of any CC. Toomey has not been having good luck with these roots here, but the Stranglethorn's just going to get burned, and that Banana Brush. Smokey has the confidence. They're holding onto that ultimate. It's going to go wide. Jacob picks up the kill with the Chaos Storm, and don't worry, Aragon was here as well.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an interesting sequence there. The Maw actually did end up grabbing the victor, but unfortunately the Spiraling Despair was not actually aimed at where that ability pulled Jacob towards, so we'll just not find the target, and was given enough time for Jacob to actually get the ult back up, so Chaos Storm able to seal the deal. And Smokey, once again, down and out. 20 CS lead in the mid lane, not exactly the most encouraging, but kind of those leads across the map for the most part, besides in bot lane where it's pretty close. Kale obviously will generate a lead like this, but seeing it also on the Skarner as well is not an encouraging sight.
Yeah, it's getting harder, it seems, for Evil to get away scot-free with plays, but they've just been leveling up to actually make it work anyway, and it's made Ice4's job really hard. You mentioned, like, it's one of those games where it feels like the draft is kind of just out of control. There isn't a correct decision for Ice4 here, and the longer it's going on, the harder I have to agree here. Aragon Bird flash mid, was able to burn Young Greases in response, so it's going to be a big cooldown missing here for this Herald contest. Otherwise, 130 for this Dragon. It's gone for that 2. It's going to be gone for... it's going to be up for a Baron, but 20-minute Baron here would be very... not crazy possibility, I guess, with Zyra, but it'd be a little wild.
Yeah, they are looking for Young Grease here.
King not going to find it. Root also going to go wide on Poom again here. They're just hammering away at this tower, and these headshots really do hurt.
Yeah, I will say, you know, this is the state of the game where Zyra loves, where you're just able to walk around the map and not feel too threatened because the burst isn't too high from the carries of Iceborn 4-1 just yet. So this is kind of like the big opportunity to just do whatever you want as Zyra, and I mean, it's got to be feeling good here for Aragon. Does have the ultimate in his pocket, so that's a big burst of damage that you could rely on here. Poom will claim up the Rift Herald here, so another objective over to Evil, and we'll just take that and kind of move along. And Caitlyn going to be pushing down this mid lane turret. It might just go down in this rotation if Hyrax wants it. So, there isn't too much of a response, but there are some pings going through. The Mundo kind of wanting to collapse here in mid.
Keel's moving mid, gonna pop out of that bush scene. We're just watching Instrument here topside. It looks like that fight didn't really turn into a whole lot there. Everyone kind of missing their catches, and I guess more damage landing onto this mid tower. Even just like a Caitlyn auto every wave, I think is more than enough work that Evil has to be happy with here. And you know, eyes are starting to set on this dragon.
Yeah, Smokey getting poked out just a little bit. Aragon here, very confident to walk forward.
Confident to walk forward there. Stranglethorn's good stun on the wall. Sting gonna grab 2 there. Can they follow? Chaotic Storm gonna turn down Smokey. Keyhole that next target, but they cannot get close enough. Tipu is burned by Instrument. And Mulsaki's gonna finally opt not to respond there, but Dragon picked up here. Another homework done by Evil.
Yeah, very good ult there from Poom after, you know, just an initial spacing and cooldown burning from Aragon. So just leveraging the advantages they have so far really well. And I mean, with no scaling advantage, I'm not sure how you get out of this scenario. You really have to find a big opener where you can really blow up in this game for Iceborn 4-1. But with how the lanes are kind of set up, there's no push advantage anywhere across the map besides whoever Hui decides to match, and that's just not an easy thing to play around. So I'm just not sure the best angle here for Iceborn 4-1. I think you're relying on the Mundo to kind of create this buffer of tankiness that you can't really get through, but
Are you taking
we'll have to see if Cassante can kind of make an isometric fight where there is no Kale there, but there is the double tank front line. And is that enough time for, you know, this lethality, Varus, and Hui to actually do enough damage to actually threaten any of the carries?
I feel like with how the top lane quest works right now, trying to scale against a Kale without really finding a successful gank on her, mind you, they found one, but 1 in 18 minutes against a Kale, I think it's never enough to stall out this champion. The quests are so strong, it gives you that free level, so you're always super ahead as this Kale. You're going to have 16 by, what, 22 minutes? Something ridiculous like that. Stranglethorns, though, the root, Young Grease, just kind of marked for death in the mid lane, standing too far up with no help.
Yeah, no help, no flash either, so just a victim to the Zyron walking forward there. And this is the Leandri's build, so not going to be as obnoxious as the Rylai's first item, but still going to put in a lot of work as far as the damage is concerned, and that should definitely help with, you know, clearing through the HP bars of these 2 mega tanks of the Dr. Mundo and the Cassante as well. So I like the purchase nonetheless, and you know, as far as like item spikes that are coming on, this is soon to be an IE Caitlyn, maybe just backing for it right now, which at that point it's going to be very difficult to win a team fight.
It'd be very difficult to approach a team fight. You've got that trap line now that you properly have to deal with. You cannot step on any of those nice little traps. You cannot get close to there without getting a headshot. Yes, Caitlyn's going to be under threat to deliver it, but you know, even if you find that engagement of Caitlyn, you mentioned kind of at the start of this game, there's so many carries on the side of this evil roster so far, and they're hammering away at this tower, and Topo Strike's going to go wide. Aragon just looking it out, and now it's Young Grease again getting picked off, but it's turning into a Poom pick. More like a Poom get peeled off.
Yeah, Poom able... I mean, he's just so tanky at this stage. What is a lethality Varus supposed to do to this Skarner? That's the one target you don't want to be interacting with, and Poom's going to make sure to force the issue just a little bit there. Back not getting canceled, and Younggrass still on in the attention, and oh, that's a futile flash there.
That's gore of the Iceborn 80 carry.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, on my timeline. That's crazy.
On my timeline.
Yeah, this is that is a tough game. I mean, I don't blame Young Grease here. This is like pretty much worst scenario that you could potentially have. Like, it doesn't even feel that good to go on hit Varus in this game, but since none of the other parts of the map really came out to an early lead, and how can you expect them with the draft that kind of occurred? It's yeah, I think it's just a natural snowball that's very difficult to play out. I think it needed to come down to the bot lane somehow finding a miracle victory down there with the Mel Varus into this Kate Zyra, but there's a reason Caitlyn is one of the most played AD carries in the game. When you do come out to a little bit of an early lead, you can really tear open that bot lane and kind of be uncontested from there.
Luden's Mel? Am I crazy, or is that like bad? I feel like that's just not what you normally go. I guess it has everything you want. You don't want to have doubled up on Blackfire Torch here, but I don't know.
I don't hate it because they just need damage, but also the consistent, like, the burst damage should be coming from somewhere, and I guess they have to use Mel for it. So
yeah,
I'm not like
it's for most builds, but I don't think that means it's good. Personally, I'm swimming against the river here, I know, but I feel like BFT is just a better item for a champion that likes to cycle her spells. But you have the double burn to worry about, and Poom, my rant is getting cut short by them, but now it's stopped and just TP's aboard.
First Kale fight, though. And ults
that
just goes wide.
Was Smoky ultimate. They are instantly out of there. Okay.
You know, they'll be out anyways, just based off the tilt, I think, off that.
Yeah, there was tons of question marks. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I definitely heard it. The String of Thorns Chaos Storm, and there goes Iceborn's AD carry. Young Grease again, just off the side, all out, taken off screen there, just like a comedy duo. And finally falling. Yep, Bolsaki definitely going to be the one losing that to Instrument.
Yeah, that is not the sight you like to see in Game 2 of a best of 5, I'm not going to lie. So hopefully they can sort their mental after that, because that's definitely a cooldown you would have liked to leverage, especially in how that fight played out. A big AoE spell like that definitely would have made the impact, but I think at this point you're going to be thinking about that next game and what you can actually change. And, well, I think definitely have some angle where you need at least some sort of consistent damage threat, especially if something like a Kale can come through. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to at least close out this game too. Keyhole now, able to walk it out.
Is it an attempt to entertain Ice41 coming back, or is it you know, let's see how Evil can win this as fast as possible angle? Because you know, catching out Keyhole, forcing the flash away like this.
That's your mega tank, by the way.
Yeah, that's your mega tank. Completely. Oh, Chains of Corruption gonna catch out the Caitlyn Hyrax.
Right.
Big mistake. Shutdown's picked up by Mulsaki here, and inside of the fight,
here's the next carry.
Back up. That's the next carry. It's a level 16 Kale too here at 24 minutes. Doesn't quite have the items to be scary, but how are you going to get on top of them? You find it in Topo Strike, but it's a max range of everything there just to even get a slow on her.
Yeah. Keyhole now. Looking for Aragon. Force the flash away. So, honestly, some pretty good play here. Baiting it out.
Forces them away from the space. Keyhole going the wrong way. Poom trying to get closer. Able to get the pick, but just dragged away. Has the sting. Gonna find the Kasante. Spiral the Spiral and Instrument. Gonna pop that ultimate there. Trying to get close. Trying to find some damage there. Mulsaki taking a little bit of it. Aragon helping a little bit as well. Jacob finding that one shot onto the Mel there going unstoppable. Saki getting a little too close. Flash it away there from Smokey. It's onto Keyhall, getting picked up by Instrument. Chaos Storm's growing, sticking on top of them. Young Grease able to get the ult away from Smokey, trying to defend this tower, but now you're on the wrong side, trying to get away. Able to find the fear. Instrument cannot close the gap. Ice41 live to fight another day.
You know, usually you say don't trickle in, but there was a lot of cooldowns committed for both Hyrax and Instrument there, and with Instrument not being taken out, I mean, at that stage you just don't have the damage to deal with the Kayle, and you know that's kind of why this draft seems so hard to play out. Having this many carries means you take down one with your pick composition with some poke. You still have two more to deal with, and one of them happens to be able to heal out a lot of that damage with that W that Kayle has. So it's yeah, that's why it seems so hard for me to conceptualize a way for Iceborn 4-1 to win this one. -1. I'm sorry, Young Grease. I don't know why the camera panned to you. I'm so sorry. That's actually sad. That may be the most sad thing about this game.
Hungers has just not been, it's not been their game, and I agree with the lethality, but you have no business auto attacking as Varus this game. So it's just kind of like making the best of a bad situation here, and that seems to be the name of Iceborn 4-1's game here. They're trying to collapse here, but they're so far away.
Yeah, they got the TP here, so I mean, that just calls, hey, we just leave and we just go do something else. And they got plenty of space here in mid lane to actually do something. This is a 5v5, so they can find someone immediately. Boom. They're taken low. Aragon, though, is like so hard to walk forward into these plants. Just do so much proxy damage.
It's not even a large number that's coming on. It's just hitting everyone. It's hitting everyone for like 300. And it's just starting to add up slowly. Leandri's burn slowly creeping up on them, and that's going to cost them this tier 3 mid tower. Now the eyes are starting to set there into the top side. They've got this Baron too, and you know, what's the angle?
I mean, I think they just have to find something where Toomey can find it. Flash Chains Corruption finds Aragon.
That could have been it. Found Aragon, but no one can get close. Hyrax, the next target there, going all out through the wall. Kasate following with Hyrax, picking them up here. There's no one coming from the front side. Mosaki able to pick up Hyrax here, but the Chaos Storm. Jacob going to flash forward. Mosaki the backside getting ran down as the Fear's going to stalk Jacob here. Instrument running forward, takes a good chunk from the wave. They're going to lose their top tower, though. The minion wave too strong. They can't. They can find, you know, micro victories, little bits and pieces here, but it's losing their entire base.
Yeah, they find Hyrax again. Pretty much the same kind of situation where, hey, you still got a Kayle and a Victor to deal with, and there's just not enough in the tank for the composition to find another kill in that position. So, yes, they find the Caitlyn on the back end with a pretty nice engage there from Murasaki, but I mean that's a solo Kasante duty, and everyone else forced to be at the whims of the Kayle Victor walking forward. Young Grease now has to be careful, might just get picked off.
They picked off their Chains of Corruption right away, though, keeps them alive, but I mean, the best case scenario for Ice 4-1 is they lose nobody and they're dealing with a Mountain Soul.
Yeah, Mountain Soul on a squishy composition means it's not so squishy anymore. Not to say any of these champions are particularly squishy besides Caitlyn, honestly, because all of them are that pseudo-fake health stacking type champions, except Instrument is so uncontested, he doesn't even need to build, like, Riftmaker, for instance. So, yeah, it's getting pretty hard to find a good angle here. And, you know, shoutouts to Iceborn 4-1 for at least stalling out the game this much, but it will be a futile effort at the end, I believe.
Smoke Poom just going to drift away for a little bit of style points. Some stees here as this bot tier 3 is going to fall now. Eyes are setting on all 3 inhibs, but first we've got to take Mosaki. Root stun too much. Root is Instrument's going to pick up on a killing spree. Double kill picked up by Instrument, continuing to go forward. Hyrax going to flash forward in the face of Smokey. Keyhall popped the ultimate, but didn't help their mid laner. Hyrax going to take a lot of damage for that Spawn Despair, but still hanging around here. Rock reflected back, but the towers are gone. Evil just living up to their name. They're bullying Ice 4-1 in their own Nexus. It's going 2-0.
I'm glad that they're able to end it quickly, because there's a lot for Iceborn to think about, and they should really I mean, honestly, is there a lot? I'm thinking about it more. It's more just don't draft something completely, that can't answer a type of super scaler like Kale at the end.
Or they could deal with it early. Or
Or
anything.
that could deal with it early. It was
There's
the
no
lock in.
options.
Yeah, Cassante on R4 kind of locks you into that kind of. I mean, you already locked the Mundo. You already locked the Cassante. What role can you pick at that point? And all that was left was the mid lane, which you end up picking Hui, which answers the Victor pretty well, but does it answer the rest of the composition very well? I'm not sure. So, in that way, I think a lot of adaptation to be had, but I don't really blame the play of Iceborn 4-1. It really did feel like just one of those. The draft is so much in favor of the side of Evil that there really isn't that great of an angle to find, and they looked for them. They found a couple good picks throughout the game, here and there, but with how the gold actually ended up just being on the right members of the Caitlyn and the Victor in the mid game, it just was too hard to climb that mountain and come back in that one. And now you're facing down the barrel of being down 0-2, and it's fearless, and your pools are going to keep getting shrunk. So you really got to have had a lot of prep for these kind of situations where you got to dig into your bag of tricks, because this is potentially Iceborn 4-1's final game.
They've got a ton to do here. You had a competitive game one, but once again, we kind of like mentioned it, but it was in passing of like the drafts just kind of didn't help them, but it's okay. They can fix it up in game two. Game two comes around, and that kill pick just stops any options they have. This Varus now cannot auto attack, has to go poke. No picks from them from the side of Ice 4-1 can really save them, so they have to kind of just accept the loss and move on here. And now you're moving to this game three. Pressure is on. There, it's full comfort for Strawberry How Evil, especially after a stomp like that. You feel good, and all you've got is dig deep into that bag of tricks and see what you've got to show, because there's no point holding stuff back. There's no point, keeping something close here for semis and finals. We got this secret pick here. There's no point. It's been used. It needs to get used, or you're not going to be there. So, with that being the case, they've got to take a break. They've got to figure out what they need to do, and we'll see you once that game 3 draft starts. welcome back, everybody. Yeah, double thumbs up here. We got game 3 coming at you
Yep.
pretty quick here. It's match point for Strawberries. And I just forgot there was a Strawberries no evil, do evil, yes evil.
How evil? How evil?
How evil? There
How
we go. And they're pretty
evil.
evil. They
Gotta
are
do it once.
super evil here. Yeah, I got to do it to them once here. Ice 4-1, Iceborn 4-1 has just been struggling to get their feet into the door. All things considered, especially after last game. Last game was kind of just a disaster for them in all facets.
Hey, this is when you mental reset. You just don't think about it.
Mhm.
Bad draft. We go on next. You can't draft something as bad as that last game. So just based off that, Iceborn 4-1 should come out to a great roaring start in this one. We do see Corki immediately taken off the table for evil. I anticipate more focus towards the bot lane in these earlier picks. We've talked a lot about Ashe Seraphine. It still hasn't shown up in this one. And with Corki getting banned away, there aren't that many good answers, so I could see an Ashe first pick just being very high prio. There are still stuff that, is pretty strong. They will ban the Seraphine, so they don't want to deal with it themselves, so most likely the Ashe will just fall through coming forward. But, some other strong AD carries like Sivir, for instance, hasn't seen the light of day just yet, as well as stuff like Xayah, who recently came off of a buff and is actually quite strong. With Sivir getting taken off the table, I could see Xayah actually going up in prio now, as there aren't that many good pushing AD carries left. So you would have a pretty big advantage there. Stuff like Kai'Sa also comes to mind. You don't have the Nautilus, but you still have stuff like Blitzcrank and potentially even like an Alistar or a Leona that you could leverage here as that last pick to just kind of square it away. But, the one ban they did drop is the Karma for the Seraphine instead, so it makes a lot of sense just to grab it first.
Ice 4-1. In this one too, the Seraphine is gone, so there's not that, Ashe Seraphine that we've been kind of harping on. Leona is still around and isn't the best. Like, it's not a counter into Karma, but it's got a pretty good matchup. It's not anything bad at all here, but you're kind of looking at your AD carries, and it's like your Leonas are typically seen with like Jins, Varus's, Ashe, kind of. That's more of a solo queue thing. So Taliyah, though, they're going to hold on to the AD carry for a little bit and just kind of lock down a strong mid laner, but you need something to play around here for Taliyah.
Yeah. Taliyah is an interesting one. It could be flexed to the jungle, of course. The Hen's going to be locked in here for Poom, most likely. Could be flexed over to Instrument, which you've already seen in this draft. And it seems like they really always want to give Instrument a good matchup. So we could see that flex in case it ends up being so. So I really wish Iceborn 4-1 holds that top lane for that R5. So no shenanigans can really occur. It will be Ashe Karma as the bot lane here. So a Jhin response makes a lot of sense. It could, it outranges just a little bit, and you should be able to get away from a lot of the pressure of an Ashe Karma. I'm curious to see whether it'll be Swifties this game, most likely, and that should actually alleviate a lot of the early lane pressure that an Ashe normally would have. We are seeing now mid laners get banned away that have kill pressure onto Taliyah, so Syndra. I can also see something like, Mel's already gone. I was actually going to say that, but no, it's going to be Rise. So kind of these picks that Jacob's more well known for, just getting taken off the table, and Kha'Zix, and probably another AD jungler, if I had to guess, going to get taken off the table, and it will be Olaf, which is also a flex pick, so getting away from any, R4 potential top lane jungle flexes from this point is a pretty good one. That
would have been a wicked 1-2, just Olaf Ivern here. For Ice 4-1, kind of would have been a little spicy there, but Olaf off the table. They're going to go into Fury here, lock down some extra dive, but we've been kind of mentioning it here. Ice 4-1 seems to be a little erring on the side of no tanks and all damage, and that's the only super tank that's really left. You've got Malphite right now into Sion is kind of about it. Otherwise, you're going to be running a very squishy comp here, and even better, they're going to lock down this Aurora as well, so there's still a mid lane bully that can deal with this Taliyah. Yeah, you have that jump that can get stopped by the rocks, but it's not a big deal. And
Cho'Gath.
That's a sleeper right there with the Cho'Gath going up to the top side.
I like that as a response pick into the Sion. Obviously, the silence really well matches the Q from Sion, so you should have a pretty easy time at least navigating that matchup in the 1v1. And come mid-game, obviously, both of these champions, infinite health stacking, and you're going to be expecting that to come through for sure. Zehen might be a little bit difficult to kill in this game. You have Jhin, who takes a while to kill someone. Taliyah and Nafiri are going to have to be the ones pairing up to get this kill on the Zehen. ASAP, because as soon as he's able to get to a revive, it's definitely going to be a lot more difficult to navigate a fight at that point. Leona also very good into Zehen, so I think I like that pick, at least for that pick as well. And then you have long range engage for both these sides. You got Ashe Arrow, you got Leona ult as well. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it'll end up going. And if Aurora can come out to an early lead, I could see it being kind of difficult to play. But Neferi on the same, the other side of the coin, also very terrifying champion if she does end up with a pretty big lead. So looking to Keyhall to really kind of solidify this early game and kind of snowball that into something where they can abuse the no mobility bot lane here of Ashe Karma.
There just has to be something next to this Neferi on the dives. I see a lot of people opt into this Neferi, and it does look like a solid angle, but now it's about how do you play these fights. Make sure if your Neferi is going to be diving to the backline, there isn't a Scion waiting for them there. There isn't a Karma that's going to peel it off super well. You need to make sure there's traffic on the way. You need to make sure that someone's able to help lock down targets for the Neferi. Because yeah, you've got the dash, you've got the front flip, but that's kind of it. And the daggers are still skill shots, man. And hey, we might be in Vanquisher, but it happens. So a ton needs to land guaranteed here. And there's a lot of skill shots from the side here of Ice41 that if any one of them misses, there's going to be this large domino effect of a lot of skill shots have to land in open space. And, Evil kind of in a very comfortable spot again. This time, they're in the scaling seat. They don't really need to get things going. They just need to make sure this Jhin doesn't get running and this Neferi doesn't get running, and they're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, I will say I really want Keyhall to really focus on killing the Scion in the early game. I think if you could get the Cho'Gath off the ground, that could be a really big threat that doesn't seem like Evil's composition is really ready to deal with that well. Toomey unfortunately going to have to be forced on the heal here just to get away from the Ashe Karma. I'm surprised to see them even attempt to walk up in that fashion. You know how powerful an Ashe level 1 is. Keyhall going for the invade. Unfortunately, the dog's going to get spotted over the wall. Isn't actually, they didn't actually spot it, so Poonhao has no idea that these wolves are started up. So Keyhall's just going to walk in level 2 against Zehen, a classically terrible champion pre-level 3. And we'll see how that ends up actually playing out here now that the invade's coming through.
Here it is, though, did miss the smite. That's kind of the contingencies. You finish that camp fast enough to get there for the smite, but you mentioned Poom's going to get pushed off. Instruments called over level 1 Scion.
Someone's typing. I heard it. Someone's typing right now, and I guarantee you it's Poom.
It's an unfortunate situation for Poom here, but Keyhall is he's going to be in a very good spot here. And a stun onto Jacob. Smokey's going to trade back that damage, but Jacob wants to keep up the pressure. Has a 3-hit passive. Going to land the first Q. Flashing forward. Ignite. Going to get burned. Auto. Pull back. Not enough.
Potion.
One more tick. Oh. It's not there.
Yeah, the potion barely enough to stay alive there for Smokey, but a lucky one nonetheless. The Ignite not really accounted for there by Smokey, so Jacob kind of just surprising there. Toomey still taking a lot of damage. Remember, no heal on this bot side, so this damage is going to stick. It's not an Alistar, it's a Leona, so there really is no later sustain for them to leverage, and I think this bot lane is off to a really good start here for Hyrax and Aragon, and I mean, you expect it out of the Karma lane, but this is even bigger of an advantage than you'd even expect in a normal scenario.
It's a very comfortable situation here for the side of Evil already. Typically, the threat that you kind of have to deal with is just the sheer burst damage from an engage coming in from this Leona Jhin, but they don't have the ability to trade up with that heal. Typically, you're going to be down 150 or so HP. Heal's able to cover that difference. Not there. You mentioned that. Now it's the Jacob kind of already putting pressure on Smokey in the mid lane. Did burn that Ignite, importantly, and is going to be a little bit behind just because they're going to be lacking this TP. But top lane here.
So much minion damage.
That minion damage has really started to add up into Mulsaki, but they did find the knock up here, but it's turned in kind. And hey, there's a reason I mentioned Scion as the premier super tank still left over.
I mean, just not respecting. You're tanking 4 caster minions. That is... I guarantee you look at the kill recap, that's like 250 damage just from minions there. So just not respecting it in that particular trade, and it's just going to go down to Instrument. And I really wanted some focus on the top side from Keyhall and Murasaki to kind of just combine for a good play, but you know, if the Scion ends up to an early start,
Oh,
you can get some good
We are
flash.
we're just cyberbullying at this point. Can find that knockup on a Smokey. The pullback coming through, and last second goes to Poom. And yeah, Nefiri showing up. Keyhole trying to keep up the pressure here mid, but doesn't have it in them.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Good exploitation of the no flash cooldown there on Smokey. So just a good 1-2 from Poom and Jacob, and yeah, now Bramble Vest completed for the Cho'Gath, who is a champion that actually does heal quite a bit from that passive alone. So still will be a good purchase nonetheless, and you know, is more focused on just dealing with the Nefiri comes any ganks as well. So it's just not going to be a lane you could really look to now that the solo kill has kind of come through, which is really unfortunate because otherwise your option is bot lane, and I mean, we got a Cole Jhin, which is not exactly going to be looking for early action into the Karma Ash.
And Jhin scales. Like, it's not
Yeah.
the end of the world for Jhin. Jin's going to be fine, you know, moving to late game, except the Scion problem. That's kind of, you know, the ugly elephant in the room that you kind of have to look at eventually is going to be how do we get through the Scion as Iceborn 4-1. Fury? Maybe Cho'Gath if we go AP? Yeah, not
I mean, it's Cho'Gath with Hail Blades, I guess. You get to get, like, I don't know, what's the max health percentage on Cho'Gath E? I'm sure it's something, but
it's like a little bit
nice
good.
engage.
Zenith Blade into the tower. Hyrax did burn that cleanse pretty quickly. Root's going to get found just to trade back the damage. It's even spread across, but a lot landed on the Hyrax here.
Yeah, that's a good chunk at least, and you do force the cleanse out, so you could consider a repeat as soon as Leona is able to hit level 6. Smokey.
Shove just to get them off. Smokey trying to get away with their life at this point. Pull back. One more auto needed, and they're still fine. Now back to the bot lane. Zenith Blade of the Toomey able to get away, but not from Poom. One more auto needed. Finally able to get it done. 4-shot, not enough to kill. The heal more than enough. Kahel has to flash forward. Hyrax gonna pick up the kill too. No way. Strawberries. They're getting away with it.
How evil of them, indeed. It's just, it looks so sad. Unfortunately, they just can't clean up the kill there on Poom. Jhin stuck on a reload. And Nefiri with no cooldowns left in the tank. I mean, Poom just gets away scot-free, and it's the snowball's starting, and it's not in the correct direction if you are Iceborn 4-1 here. 3k gold, almost 4 evil, 2.5 actually the numbers, so it's yeah, mid lane not working out that well, and then the one lane the Fury needs basically to kill to get an advantage here on the back foot as the engage comes through from actually the bot lane of the Karma Ash instead of the Leona. So yeah, it's looking difficult to actually find a good angle for this Nefiri to actually find a kill, considering how ahead Jacob is. The Hextech Alternator, definitely one of the premier items you could get at this current mid-meta, so able to do that extra chunking that you really do want if you are Aurora.
He just doesn't have the range to even make that a possibility. You don't have Solar Flare yet. That's like a must-have if you're trying to gank an Aurora that already has Flash. Maybe you can try
look
walk
at the
forward and
freeze.
burst it. Freeze showing up. Aragon going to get a little too close here. Zenith Blade finds with that Deadly Flourish on the return. Aragon going to take a lot of damage here, but the Root keeping them alive for a long time. Young Grease turns that 4-shot towards Hyrax, so it's going to do no damage. And Toomey getting walked down, pelted by some toothpicks.
Yeah, hail of arrows there coming through. Just doing a lot of damage. And yeah, if you can't kill Aragon on a rotation like that, maybe you look for it again at level 6, but that's your pretty much last opportunity before this Ash Karma really gets off the ground. Does have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so going to respect it and just go for the reset on bot side. Poom as well.
Doing great.
Yeah, about
Jacob
to take the dragon.
Jacob as well. Poom's taking the dragon. Jacob is like just keeping this lead going, and the instruments doing unspeakable things top. Hyrax and Aragon are just kind of running this game from the bot side. I know it's like kills be damn 25, 30 CS up already in this lane, and there's been jungle tension here. Is a crazy work here, and it's just going to be such a not insurmountable, but such a difficult lead to come back from. And honestly, that's kind of relying on Kahel here. Keyhole. Like,
yeah, Keyhole. I talked about how the Nefiri needs to get it off the ground, and like a big opportunity for that to happen was to take down Instrument in the top side, but
There's play. Toomey still not level 6 here, so on that engaged, no Solar Flare on the follow-up. Young Grease has to play just at arm's length at best here, and that's only one auto.
Yeah, we'll have a timer here to at least take the grubs, so something on the map going to be afforded over to Iceborn 4-1, so not going to go completely empty-handed. Jacob wants to find the trade on Smokey, gets the Hawkstick alternator proc. That's all you really need. See you in 40 seconds, buddy.
See you next
Jacob
wave.
walks it up. Yeah. Now red buff getting cleared here for Poom. Probably will at least take a peek towards the bot side after getting this red buff down. Smokey now very low. Has to be super careful. Oh.
Unfortunate.
Yikes.
Yeah, continuing the bad news, it's actually for Strawberries How Evil. Aragon got engaged on again. Toomey this time had Solar Flare, was able to burn it. Young Grease twirling that 4-shot. Aragon not close. Toomey neither. Gonna try and find that deadly flourish. Not enough. Root gonna land onto Toomey. So low. Gonna fall to Hyrex. Aragon trying to close the distance here. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is still up, so you're running away. That Ashe has definitely got mana here, and there it's gonna land the snipe from downtown dead center for Poom to go on a killing spree.
Yeah, that was your best opportunity, and just really good kiting there from Aragon and Hyrax means the 4th shot never comes through for Young Grease, and really do need that extra damage just to top off these kills, but yeah, the Summoner Spell advantage just too much of a barrier to climb in that particular fight, and it's looking, you know, a similar beat as the last game, but unfortunately it's not the draft's issue in this one. It's a little bit of play mistake, and you know, you really don't want to be going out 3-0 basically like this in playoffs once you've already done so much hard work to get into this top 8. So maybe the mismatch is just too much. You know, it's important to remember, despite how the seeding stage went, Evil was the top of their group in a group where a lot of teams were 4-2. So yeah. Oh, Smokey in an interesting angle, but just going to go around, but is going to see Poom on the back end, so going to have to walk the long way around back to mid. That's going to be a little bit unfortunate here. Maybe just might go for a top lane gank, but immediately spotted out with a ward, and there's nothing to be found.
It's on vision, man. It's on vision. What's going to go right here? I'm crying for Ice 4-1 at this point. What's going to go right? Poom's here to chase down Smokey. The shove is found. Jacob in the area, but those rocks make sure they can't close the distance. There's something that goes right, I guess, but I mean, we panned a bot lane and it's just a disaster. This is your kill lane. This Jin Leona is a traditional kill lane. This is meant to try and find fights here, and they're going to find that Zenith lane. This is probably the best chance you've got. Solarfur with a combo. They're trying to chase this up to Fury in the area. Kahel trying to get as close as they can. Gonna finally pop that ultimate. Here we go.
Okay.
Shutdown picked up. They're continuing with that reset onto Aragon. Flash to guarantee with the Zenith lane. It's a double kill picked up by Keyhole.
They're on the board. It's not a full sweep. Let's go. Iceborn 4-1 finds a bit of life in the bot lane. You know, I've been waiting for this. I'm trying to get hyped, guys. It's been doom and gloom for the last 2 games. Finally, a play going well, so at least some sign of life here in Iceborn 4-1's like potential final last game in Vanquisher this season. So, I mean, now you get a little bit of a sigh of relief. You have 2 kills on your Nefiri, and it was 2 shutdowns as well. So now it's really up to Keyhole. Kind of a signature player you're going to need to rely on in this next game. So, I mean, we'll have to see if it's enough even to just get somewhere in this game. You know, it's not good to think about trying to win it just yet. You need to squeak away some extra blood from the stone, as they say. So before they actually start thinking about that, you know, baby steps, but 2.5 gold is the lead.
I think your best baby step here is trying to kill Scion. Collecting bounties, trying to, you know, maybe focus away from this Ashe that now has Kraken Slayer to your Jin Swifties at a pickaxe. So, you know, you can add a lot of damage wherever you go, but it's like this. Like, here's your other lane playing around. Smokey's just caught out. No vision laid down for them at all. Has Flash still got hit. Like, nothing's going right. Actually, I think that might have perfectly been on cooldown, but nothing's going right for them right now here in the mid lane. Eyes are setting towards this dragon. Keyhole, I think at this moment, directly needs to be topside.
Yeah, and just look for something, but no, it's just going to be a give on the side, and also just going to grab the camps on the back end.
There's not even a sign isn't even given the angle in case Keyhole is there. Keyhole's not going to show bot side. They're like, oh, it's fine. TP's going to get burned here from Smokey. Here's the curtain call. Going to open up. Two's going to land on a Hyrax. Looking for the third. Going to miss. Fourth lands barely enough damage, but Keyhole's going to go to killing spree to pick it up. Heating up now. It's onto the Karma bot side. Keyhole's keeping up the pressure under the tower, and Aragon's still alive, just barely. Dagger. First one's going to land. Second one going to hit. A lot of damage. Dogs could be enough. Just not enough, but Jin, Young Grease under the tower is going to pick up that kill.
All right, Keyhole's trying to make it happen here. This is their big window where they could, if they could just keep this momentum up on the map and really utilize this Nefiri, they could potentially find themselves with a big enough lead, but you know, it needs to be repeat play on a flash AD carry like Hyrax right now. They're going to try and make it happen, though. Still on the bot side, looking for something, but Smokey also has to be very careful. That, you know, definitely has not been the safe this series so far. It feels like a lot of the time Jacob has had his number, but you know, you need the Talia to be available on the map to join up for these Nefiri plays if you do want to secure this comeback victory.
There's a time to step up as right now, but opting into you know, one defensive already and most likely going to go haunting guys item second. I pray that's not somehow turning into a Rod of Ages, right? Like, if we're going Rod of Ages here, like, ugh.
Yeah, I doubt it, just considering it's not the first item. You would definitely want that Roa online first if you're going to be going it. So I expect at least a burn build, potentially, maybe Leandri's, or just the Blackfire Torch is so common, but it's weird that it isn't the first item here. It's actually just going to be the tier item. I'm curious about that.
Got stalled so long. He just got stalled so long that tier was finished stacking. Might as well finish up the Seraphs here. Gonna find that shove into the tower, so some tower shot's gonna help and make it a little more even onto Poom there, but that's the result of going Seraphs is multiple full volleys, just not enough damage. Keyhole waiting in the wings here, bot side. Don't think was spotted. Well, of course, now was spotted as they're going to find this dive in the tower. Deadly Flare, Slow Flare, everything dumped here onto poor old Hyrax. Continuing this on to Aragon under the tower. Keyhole finally going to drop aggro. It's going to go over towards Toomey. That's a really good dive here from Iceborn 4-1.
I just talked about it. They need to make repeat plays onto this flashless. Also, cleanseless AD carry, and they find at least one more here. So the advantage that Keyhole is generating has now, you know, kind of got them back in the game. The gold is even, and now Poom on the top side trying to find something. So at the very least, there is a glimmer of hope in this very, very long tunnel. I think it's looking at least playable. Keyhole still hasn't interacted really with the rest of the map, so I don't know. I can't really glean how that would particularly go with the Scion and the Zehen potentially being there. But yeah, at least they're finding their angle to exploit.
They're going to try and get this Herald. They've got Keyhole topside right now. No information that Poom is bot right now. But you saw the pings. They might have just seen that, actually. So they're going to try. You should rip Herald. If you think he's Krugs at this point, I feel like the risk is completely worth it. Oh, we're even in gold. You're going to lose in the scaling battle against a Scion with a Jin 80 carry. That's your other ahead member here as Ice 4-1, so you need to push advantages, but we've taken so long to start this. Poom's in the area, and Toomey is the one that has to find out. They're moving into the poor banana brush there. The Thunderdome started. Zenith Blade able to find. Deadly Flush just going to go wide. Solar Flare flashed away by Hyrax. That's enough for the Nefiri to go inside, and pop goes the Weasel. That's Jacob going on a rampage there in between worlds just to chase down poor old Youngry. He's going to flash, covering the distance. Still eats all the spells anyway. Ignite continued, and it's a double kill for Jacob.
Yeah, Keyhole just trying to go for some sort of play there, but didn't respect the burst that could come through before Hyrax could go down there, so didn't get any of those resets that are so important to Nefiri there. And gotta say, where's the rest of the team there for Iceborn? If it's just too hard to play out when you're in such a man disadvantage there on that objective.
Or even, where's the cross map play?
Yeah. The problem is the only real player in this game right now is Keyhall, so I feel like you just kind of have to play around him. There is no other option. Yeah, Liliona's great setup, right? But if there isn't the damage on top of it, it's just pretty hard to actually find. Now they're looking for Toomey again. 5 people here.
Toomey, 5 people here. Toomey taking them up for a long time. So is Mulsaki here in the area trying to shift that over, but they're finally able to pick up Toomey. Jacob just gonna casually burst Young Grease in the backside. Mulsaki, that's the tank that Ice41 needs, and Hyrex is going to continue that train there onto Smokey, looking for more, and finally Poom goes unstoppable onto Mulsaki here. There is nothing left. There's no wind in the sails here for Iceborn 4-1 here. Kahil and now pushing out this bot side, I guess, but Hyrex is putting in the work into the mid lane here. Now they're finally getting closer to... they're going to let this Defiri live, I think, out of pity.
Yeah, this is, no, they're actually just stalling the Nefiri. Aurora's coming over on the other side now. Gonna find Keyhall, who's gonna try and flash away.
To dodge some damage, but both tower shots there does have that immune there, but in between worlds there, that means the Aurora's right on top of you again.
Yeah, I mean, really clean play from Jacob. The Aurora looks really clean, which is, you know, I think at this point, like a champion that really does require a little bit higher level of mastery to pull off effectively compared to when she was on release, or even post mini rework, whenever that was. So yeah, definitely a good sight to see. And 7-0-2 with a Medjai's in the inventory. You don't see Medjai's as often here in coordinated play, but I mean, when it's looking so good, you might as well at this stage of the game. So yeah, Poom now also 5-0-3. I mean, it's just looking really hard to find an angle on any of the topside members for Evil. It's pretty much just been Hyrex on repeat, as well as a bit onto Aragon as well, so it's pretty tough here. So now we do have collapsing on the top side. They see Karma Ash on here, but Cho'Gath a little bit far forward, so might get picked off before the rest of the team is here.
It's going to land, and one Ash auto means that you are dead. Mulsaki taking so much burst from Jacob, who goes legendary. Talia has just realized that this TP might not be right. Somehow is able to flash away on frame 1, still alive. Shove just going to go wide. A stun landed there, and they're chasing out Keyhall first before they're trying to turn their sights onto Young Grease there in the tower. It's Hyrex picking up that double kill now. Weaver's Wall still able to make it out of the fight, but Iceborn 4-1 just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, Hyrex said enough is enough, decides to chase down the Nefiri and the Jhin. Actually, that fight started off with Hyrex just ulting Keyhall immediately to kind of just get Nefiri off his back on the start here.
They've got to burst the Ash here, and the Zenith Blade went wide. Solar Flare also shoved away. Anti-synergy at the moment that it mattered for Iceborn 4-1. They're going to find the Zenith Blade, though, right on back, and the shutdown picked up here from Mulsaki, so 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day.
Oh, nope.
Oh, and 2-for-1 trade. And there goes Aurora.
Yeah. This is... suddenly, you know, it was looking kind of close, and we're back to a 10k gold lead. Just like that. You know, it's hard for Nefiri to find everything, especially when, you know, the gold gain that Iceborn 4-1 got was basically purely off of just abusing bot lane and ignoring the members that actually do kind of well into Nefiri. So as soon as that's been over, it's not looking as good. Aragon there taking the cannon, super chill. Just happy gaming at this point, honestly.
You're just kind of waiting for everyone to have enough gold to actually end the game here. Poom stealing back that, well, I guess it's not their blue buff. It's not supposed to be, but Poom's going to dominate there, and now they found the onslaught onto Smokey, the Drift King in this game for Instrument, picking up the well-deserved kill there. Starting to knock on the door here, and Toomey looking for his Zenith Blade, not going to be able to find it on the Hyrex, who's just playing at the just bleeding edge of this fight. That turret's going to fall, an immediate Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Good cleanse. Keeps Young Grease out of combat for now here, but Ash able to flash away from 2B. 4-Shot going to put in a lot of work now. Here comes the Curtain Call, trying to find the damage onto Hyrax there. It's starting to add up onto Poom there. 4-Shot, though, as long as it's eaten up by literally anybody or it just misses, they're fine.
Yeah. I mean, Young Grease did their best there. Hyrax showing a little bit of respect there on the flash as well, so surprising to see. Aurora ult going wide and mid, so Young Grease fortunate enough to walk away from that one. Yeah, and it's looking like Strawberry How Evil wants this top 4 finish, but
still have to earn it, and they're prying it. Hyrax picks up the kill to Smokey. Poom gonna go a little too far, able to flash over the wall now. Mulsaki gonna get the root here. Jacob finding as much rotations as they can. Aragon keeping the slow up. Deadly Flourish just barely gonna miss Mulsaki, taking more burst damage from the Aurora here, putting their eyes set on this tower. Is easily gonna connect there, but Jacob is fine with this because that's just the Leona. No one's close enough to help, and Toomey gonna take a lot of damage. 3-hit passive combo with that Q. More than enough.
yeah, this is looking like a masterclass on Aurora Zahen, how to play it as a 2v2. It's yeah, there isn't too many angles to come back on this one. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. I think they have to find Hyrax immediately. They have to somehow kill this 25 Medjay stack Aurora, who's been oh so slippery in this game, and they found Young Grease again.
They damn.
Well,
Not much there of Young Grease.
yeah, it's, you know, I respect them at least trying. I think Toomey's looked for some pretty decent angles, but they just don't have the golds to be able to contest it. It's like in that last engage where Toomey goes on to Jacob to start that play. Unfortunately, Jin just can't walk up because if anything, Jacob will just, you know, press Q on the Jin as he walks in to do that first auto and probably just die. So yeah, it's just looking very difficult. Smokey now trying to clear out the top side. Aurora just doing what Aurora does best with the lead like this. Push camping a little bit. Has the Between Worlds to do even more on top of it, so probably will try and find a Fury here on the rotation towards this Baron, but they now have info of.
Aurora, though they have to clear this out, they're gonna find the shove here on Aurora. Jacob with a flash away, Deadly Flourish gonna land. They're picking up this free pick shutdown, but oh my, the work was put in. Boom gonna pick up that kill. A lot of damage has been dealt here. I feel like Strawberries How Evil have this angle. They just gotta lumber on towards this fight here. Aurora's been the one pushing the fights. Smokey just gonna flash away from this play so far. Reset picked up here. It's gonna be Keyhole.
Skinny Queen over there. Smokey barely able to dodge away.
Just barely.
Yeah, that was a good pick onto Aurora. Just good awareness from Smokey there to just go for the flip. Catches Jacob asleep at the wheel. But there is still a shutdown on Jacob despite that kill, by the way. So it was an overflowing bounty of gold that Riot Games believes Jacob is worth. So they'd have to do it again. That's all it comes down to. But that is 10 stacks off the Medjays immediately, and you know, no Rabadon's completion here. They need to find another fight now before any potential, you know, item completions on top of what they already have can come through. You can see the LDR coming through on Ash, and Rab's soon to be on Aurora as well. So what will be the angle to engage? Ocean Soul. Dangerous.
Good Zenith Blade. They're keeping that Steezy chain on Aragon, and they're still alive. Doobie gonna flash over the wall. Jacob picking up that kill happily now, and here comes the hand in the back like Poom. Finds that knock up there onto Smokey. I think it's all she wrote here. There's nothing left of this game, unfortunately, for Iceborn 4-1. The doors are knocking down. There's nothing left of them here. 3-0 picked up here for Strawberries How Evil, and it was effortless after that game one.
Yeah, just complete destruction in this last one. It wasn't even a draft issue, in my opinion. I think it definitely was a playable draft, just things did not go their way, and Strawberry How Evil's going to demonstrate their aptitude going into their top 4 match. 3-0 over Iceborn 4-1. Oof, that was a bit of a slaughter in that last game, but I mean, I'd still say kudos over to the side of Iceborn 4-1. They found some good angles at the very end, despite how rough that early game was. But it's just not nearly enough. They had a slight moment in time where they had enough gold to maybe squeak out something, but it's just too hard to convert when Aurora is probably like 3k gold over the opponent mid laner. And Scion simply just does Scion things.
Instrument was, I wouldn't say barely a factor in that game, because 100% the space they were buying, the pressure that they were absorbing in the bot, it just on the other side of the map, creating a pressure that Iceborn 4-1 had to deal with, I think is more than enough. But at the same time here, just I think this game, like with how ahead they were, I think they could have won this 4v5. And I don't think there would have been that much of an issue here for Strawberries How Evil. But you can see exactly the amount of impact that Jacob had here.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the series, it felt like the solo laners from Strawberry How Evil were actually, I mean, I feel like the laning prowess on the side of Strawberries How Evil in general, you know, Hyrax, Jacob, and Instrument was all extremely high. I didn't feel like they gave up big advantages besides maybe game one Instrument kind of not finding as much of a lead as you'd want on the Mbessa into the Ornn. But of course, that is Ornn, the great equalizer. He does what he does, and he does it very well. So definitely a bright spot there in their early game that they're just able to find such consistent advantages throughout these 3 games, even despite how dominant the draft was in that game too. I think, you know, you saw it in game 1 and 3 especially. It's just they squeak out a bit of gold here and there, and it really starts to stack up. And if your fights aren't lining up well into Strawberries How Evil, and you're not able to get the snowball started, if you're going to be opting to do drafts with less scaling, that's where you're really going to get punished by a team like Evil here. So it's unfortunate for Iceborn 4-1. They will be out of the tournament now at, you know, that tied 5th through 8th. Now they get to kind of sit on the sidelines and root on and maybe scrim against their brethren in Iceborn, as there is actually a mirror match. Well, I wouldn't say mirror match. 2 different teams, but they're 2 sister teams in the Iceborn organization. So now the torch is passed over to them. They couldn't do their duty over here against Evil, and have to say goodbye to them for this particular split.
You have to say goodbye to them. A recap of the series: Strawberry How Evil, game 1, a little bit of scrap. I saw a funny gif some friends of mine sent from watching the game. They're like, it looks like the Island Boys fighting. If you don't know who they are, a little callback to some old culture, but you can call it that. Game 1 and game 2 and 3, just absolute stomps for Strawberry How Evil. Looked like almost business as usual for them, kind of wrapping up a rough, what could have been a rough series into a very nice package here. So they can kind of sit and breathe easy here. But I look at the rest of these teams that you've got, you know, Sidonite versus We Love Solbert here, probably still going on as of this moment. And whoever comes out of that game is going to be terrifying. Flash Syndicate, Akuma Peacemakers, very similar case. I kind of expect Akuma Peacemakers to make it out of there. And that's a big worry here. Same thing with Iceborn Vengeance. Yes, they're against their sister team, but that team, Iceborn Vengeance, took no prisoners throughout all of regular season. So I can't imagine them letting up on the gas on their own sister team here. So we have got a great playoff picture here for Vanquisher. Now, unfortunately, as is the Vanquisher, this split has been, it's another stomp of a series. So hopefully semifinals will be coming at you next week, and we can bring you more entertaining and longer series. But we take what we can give, and we present as best we can. With that being the case, I've been Halfling, joined by Golden Gad, produced and observed by Shivam. Everyone here at the Vanquisher Cruise, thanks you for spending your night. We'll see you next week for semifinals.
See ya.